Greetings and salutations, old friends and hopefully some new friends. And welcome back to Truth Seekers. This is going to be a very special Truth Seekers event. We're bringing together people throughout the community to do this very special event. Unfortunately, as gremlins would pop up right at the last minute. And now I take full responsibility because I somehow sent the wrong invitation link to the guest panel tonight. And so we've got most of them here. We're still waiting for Kevin and Jeanette to arrive. If one of the other panel members could call Kevin, if they have his number, I'll put it in the private chat and let him know that I have emailed him a new show link. That would be really helpful because obviously we want to be sure to get Kevin Moore and Jeanette back here. Totally my fault, and I take full responsibility for it. Somehow I shared an invite link for a stream that had already ended. And for that, both the panel and the audience have my apologies. But you know what I think that we could do while we wait for Kevin and Jeanette to arrive is I'm going to bring some of our panel members in here. We've got Joyce here.
Hi.
And we have got the one, the only, the legend, C.W. Channer is here. And from all the way across the pond, we have M. Seeker, the one, the only, the legend, M. Seeker of Truth is here. And I'm going to mute M. Seeker of Truth. We're trying to do this simulcast here. And what I wanted to send you on Facebook, M. Seeker of Truth, is that you could right-click on the tab that you are sharing to your site and then just click on mute site. And that should stop your echo issues. And I apologize. I should have done a handout on how to do this before, So I thought a great way to start would be to ask C.W. Channer if he could give us some background first into Simon Parkes, because I know he's been covering him longer than me and most people.
Right.
While we get Kevin in here,
Yeah, no, I look, I mean, what can I tell you that, Simon Parkes is one of the people that we deal with in this community. I talk about this. We try and figure out what the history is. We don't even really know what to call this place. It's New Age spirituality. It's conspiracy theory land, but it's this particular little pocket of community and culture that we find here in the wake of, David Icke and, the lead up to 2012 and all that stuff. And Simon Parkes is one of these people. His story has evolved over time. He started off really selling himself as a kind of ET experiencer, and for the most part, a positive ET experiencer with very outrageous and outlandish claims. A little bit of peculiar person. There was a BBC special kind of documentary piece that I think obviously people thought was going to be this big hooray for guys like Simon Parkes, but really turned out to be kind of, a mocking piece, pointing these guys up for kind of really, people for ridicule. But despite mainstream's media's gawking at the subject, he became a bit of a star in this little pocket of a community amongst the star seeds and the targeted individuals. And the story evolved, went from the primary story being his, alien parentage, possibly being the bastard son of space god Enlil or Enu or one of the Anunnaki brothers or whatever, to then it becoming this, secret space program, spy school stuff. He knows the guy that knows the guy that knows Q. And we've seen it evolve, and this, this latest fascination with the quantum computing shenanigans of Charlie Ward and the like, and he's one of the last people still holding on. A lot of people have moved on to other things, at least changing the storyline or the narrative. But last I checked, Simon Parkes is still Donald Trump's coming back. A quarter of the presidential term in the toilet, not a problem. We deal with it. There's bigger fish to fry. And that's really the context that I can give you, on the guy. And we've known that there's been allegations of shenanigans in the past. Everyone has their particular things that they're accused of. Some guys accused of money laundering. Some guys being accused of being a control freak, and certain people are accused of maybe manipulating people behind the scenes to get other needs met, as it were. And it's just one of those things that is an uncomfortable and ugly truth that we deal with.
You know, one of the things that I found fascinating is that I have friends and family that were into the 17th letter of the alphabet, which we don't say on YouTube, the letter alphabet conspiracy. And I found it so amazing to me that even some of my friends and family who followed Mr. Parks for that information
Hi guys, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm apparently still streaming live. Don't know what happened there. Maybe the deep state took us out. Let me just see if this is working. I can't see you on the screen. Can people? Yes, I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me. Right, guys, I'm going to leave the room for a minute and try and reload this stream into this stream. Okay, so bear with me.
What's going on there?
Oh no. Yeah, you know. Oh, that's weird. I started playing it before I shared it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. That's what I was hearing. I'm like, there's echo. I'm creating the echo. I can't believe I am this stream's worst enemy. I'm supposed to be, you know.
Well, and let me just say this.
Here.
yeah, just thank you for
Okay.
everyone for coming on as well. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I want to
everyone.
thank all our panel members
Yeah.
as well. We've got
Yeah.
Terry Joyce from Not My Rabbit Hole. We've got C.W. Channer. And we had M. Seeker of Truth. I don't know if he had to bounce out and he'll be back. We've got Tab from the Alethea Project, Kevin Moore, and of course, Jeanette here. Let me make sure I don't have.
Yeah, maybe I should just preference this as well, as soon as you pass the baton to me a little bit. So, okay, so I've been doing editing a docu-series, and I've done a chunk of it right now on the subject of a whistleblower called Mark Richards. Most people watching this will know about that ongoing saga, and it will get finished next year. I promise. It's all coming out. One of the participants that are on that documentary is Simon Parks. Why is he on that documentary? Because he was, he gave he basically gave support to Mark's story. And they said that the segments of his story were true, and of course none of it's true. Absolutely zero of it's true. So I thought, well, if anyone that's going to sort of support it had a it was fair game for them to come into the docu-series. So I had started Mark Richards about 3 years ago, and when I came into researching Simon, there was a number of accusations. There was a number of complaints against various different women that I kept reading on forums like the Avalon forum, and just to sort of in different places. And I eventually got to speak to some of those women by phone, and they had never had their stories told, but basically they had some, well, it's all alleged, I suppose, but there wasn't some great experiences that they had, and it was for them to tell their story, and it would have to be backed up with evidence. But I did get to speak to a number of them a number of years ago. Now, one of them that I came across was obviously Jeanette, and Jeanette's story is backed up by not only the documentation that she sent in from screenshots of WhatsApp, Skype screenshots, text message screenshots, and there must be there's a few hundred of these screenshots, right? And what that does is it's between Jeanette and Simon, the conversations for the short time that they knew each other, and it just supports that this is a real story, it's a genuine story. And I've shared that between all the hosts that are on right now, just so that they it's just another form of validation for Jeanette's story, just as her friend Patrick was another form of validation for Jeanette's story. And Jeanette, just thank you so much for being so brave to come on this show right now live and do this. I will say this: there is other women right now watching this show to see how it goes, and I know you're out there, and I thank you for talking to me off air like you have done, and sharing some of the details that you have as well. Even that was brave what you did, and so and thanks for watching as well. So what we're going to do first of all is just listen back to Patrick's my conversation with Patrick, just as a form of evidence, basically, towards what Jeanette's going to tell us.
Yeah, and let's get to that. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
No.
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, this is going swimmingly. I don't know why it's not letting me share the audio.
We have to give Stephen a break, folks. This is his first broadcast ever. We all remember our first time, so let's be patient.
I'm just trying to share a media player.
No,
and it's
we understand that you're just trying to do something fairly simple, Stephen. That's what makes it so darling.
Yeah, I can try to pull it into another.
Just doing that. I should just say, everyone that's on this panel as well has been covering Simon in their own way for many, many years. I think CW, you've probably been doing it the longest, I believe. You've covered him way back in the day. Yeah, I think you did, man. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that MP3 into another program that will share, or I'll just share my whole screen. That should work, right? If I share my whole screen,
right. And while you're doing that, I mean, I think it's noteworthy, building on what Kevin just brought up. People will often talk about people who debunk people at this level, People that we're not talking about people that are necessarily world famous. We're talking about people that maybe not a lot of people know about, so people could say, why are you doing this? Why are you wasting your time? Before, Simon Parkes got to the place where he's at, where he probably actively played a part in, helping germinate, violent protests against the United States of America. He was a new guy, just doing his first interviews on Project Camelot, just doing his first interviews on the Basis Project. So we have to talk about these people and these projects, because if you don't address them when they're small, by the time you decide that it's worth your while to get invested or to pay attention, they're already pretty much established.
Yes. Yeah,
it's gonna be hard to do anything at all.
And I should just say this, CW, as well. Simon's lawyer, obviously, I've been speaking to today, Jack. He's watching this. We've got Simon Parkes watching this right now. So we are now, they may not be with us in physical, but they're with us in spirit. So, and this isn't to be cruel or, to say false accusations or anything like that. This is really, just about the facts we're sharing here for what we've been researching.
Let me see if we can.
Like that. This is really,
trying to get M Seeker of Truth to unmute. Yeah, I don't know. It's still not going. And me and Kari worked this out. We tested earlier, and I have the instructions exactly what to do, but he's still got echo because he's sharing his stream. He's sharing this stream to his channel as well. Yeah, I can hear you, but we've got an echo. Let me try echo cancellation, and then we'll come back to you. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, and let me know if you guys can hear this as it plays now.
No.
All right, let's try sharing my entire screen then. I should have just put this on a Chrome tab on a YouTube channel, because that always shares fine, no problem. Let me share. One second, friends. I apologize. This ought to be great. No, it's not. It's not letting me share the entire screen. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to do, Kevin, about playing this audio
Don't worry
file.
then. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've got it in the bag, right? We'll put it out as a separate link in the future. What was interesting about Patrick was everything, obviously, that Jeanette's told me, was validated by Patrick, and it was just nice to hear it from a third party. That obviously, Jeanette, you've not heard the audio, but Patrick tells me that your suicide, there were almost suicide attempts, and this was a sort of constant, ongoing thing for you at some point in your life, wasn't it? When just before you met Simon, yeah. Okay, well, Jeanette, let's talk about your story then, because I think that's what we're all here to do as well, and let's just jump straight into that. So, okay, we spoke about your sort of state of mind, when you were introduced to Simon, but obviously this stems back from, you've been through the mill, with domestic violence in your life, addiction problems, and a sort of abusive childhood. So at the stage before you met Simon, you was in a pretty dark space, would you say?
Not addiction problems.
Okay, but some other, go ahead.
Yes, I was in a very, very dark place, which is why Patrick contacted Simon, because he had heard Simon say that he'd never lost a client.
Right.
So, like a last resort, he contacted Simon to help me.
Right. So when you went to Simon, can you sort of, what was it there for? Was it as a you were going to him as a healer? Is that what you sort of, is that what you were told you were going for, or?
Yes, he claimed he could cure post-traumatic stress very effectively. I can't remember exactly how he claimed he could, but yeah, he was a very good healer, and that he'd never lost a client. So,
right. Had you seen any of his videos, or?
No, I hadn't. I'd actually not heard of him until Patrick brought him up. So I had no idea who he was.
Okay. So when you had your first session, that was kept on time, and was it more of a like a soul reading that you was having? Because is that what he was doing for you? Do you think, or?
Yeah, the first time was more of a soul reading, and he promising that he would help me, and he charge me, and he would help me financially if I needed it, and it was all very, very positive, and
Right.
it did give me hope.
Right. Okay, so what was the gap between the first session that you had with them and the second session? How sort of long was that gap?
Well, it was quite a gap because he kept claiming that his Skype wasn't working. So we had a session booked in again, I think after a week or two, but he didn't turn up. And then he messaged me on Skype, oh, sorry, I'm having problems with my Wi-Fi, and then booked a new appointment, and then didn't turn up to that one, said he had problems with his Wi-Fi. So there was quite a long gap between that first session and the next.
Okay, so let's just go to, well, actually, before we just go to the second session, did he talk about any results that he was hoping to get for you at all, or what he was, or how many sessions he was looking to offer you? It was, you know, was it ongoing? Was it, or?
No, he just said that he would help me and that he wouldn't charge me, and everything was going to be okay. And yeah, it was very positive.
Okay.
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 1 second.
Okay.
No,
so
I got echo cancellation on. I'm still doing that.
bear with us. So,
Yeah, bear with
okay,
us.
let's jump to the second session then. Okay, so the second session starts. Just kind of describe what happens.
I was very distraught at that point because, as I said, there'd been quite a long gap between the first session and that one. So I was positive after the first one, but then because there was such a long gap and he just disappeared, then I lost hope again. So I was quite distraught. He would fly me to, because I lived in Sweden then, he said he would fly me to here to the UK for a weekend. He would pay the flight, he would pay for accommodation, and he would give me some intensive deep healing, which would help. And that was also at the end of that session when he said that we were twin flames.
Okay, so it goes straight at the end. So, and when he talked about you coming over, did he say where you was going to stay, or I mean, a hotel or something, or his place, or?
Yeah, it would be a hotel.
Hotel. Okay. Keeping with the second. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because he was still married then, so he was he was married to someone else.
Okay, and you found out about that as your relationship grew. Okay, so you're the client. You're going to the healer. Did he? I mean, I'm always a bit. We're going to get into what he calls himself, right? But this is what you felt that he was when you went to see him, a healer, right? So okay, so keeping with the second session then. So the twin flames come about. So your twin flames. How did that make you feel when he told you that you had that deeper connection, and you almost feels like, you know, this is more than just a regular meeting, a regular sort of healing session?
I was a bit shocked because of who he is, and then just saying that we were twin flames. If I'd been in a normal frame of mind, I would have questioned it a bit more, but because I wasn't,
no,
unfortunately, I kind of bought into that.
And again, obviously, none of this is your fault. And you do take responsibility as we get into this conversation. You would say, you know, you're both adults. You take your side of responsibility as well.
Of course,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So
Kevin, I just want to interrupt for a moment and tell you that I uploaded to YouTube. It's going to take a few minutes, but I uploaded to YouTube the audio, so we're going to get it. I apologize for
Thank you so much for persevering, Steve.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
There definitely is, man. There definitely is. Appreciate that. So, okay, sticking with the second session then. You mentioned the twin flame. Somehow this turns very sexualized straight away. Just describe how that happened.
It just went bam. He was just full on. He was asking me what I liked. He was asking me about previous boyfriends and what we got up to, which made me very uncomfortable, and I thought that was very bizarre. He was very full on talking about what he liked, and I didn't like the language she used either. It was very vulgar. and I don't like that kind of language, and it did make me uncomfortable.
So, okay.
That was pretty much straight after he told me that we were twin flames. And again, I just want to say this: I have all the conversations saved on Skype, phone, WhatsApp, so I've got everything there to back up what I've said is true. And if his lawyer wants to see them, then he can see them.
Right, absolutely. I mean, he thinks that this is not true. He's already told me that today. So, okay. So this is the second session. This is still. I mean, I know it's a long time ago for you, right? So it's a bit blurry, right? But within that second session, so much happened in that second session. Do you think that because you was in a vulnerable situation, and do you think because of the past that you had, that when he starts going, when that language turned to a sexual kind of when that barrier was gone and it was straight to, almost like lovers, do you feel that, you were more prone to that because he was someone that was actually showing some interest, and because of what you've been through in your past, including childhood, it was you were just more open to that kind of conversation?
Oh, definitely. And he knew that. He knew that I was vulnerable, and that was, and he did prey on that. So yeah, absolutely. And obviously I'm responsible for falling for it. I know that, but yeah.
Okay. So, all right then. So then I'm guessing then we're telling each other that we love each other. Then is that right? Was that pretty much? Was that okay? How many times once that second session had happened was the next session, and were the next sessions were they the same sort of language but just more intense in a sense, like it was now like a boyfriend girlfriend, you may as well be on a dating site, and it's what you enjoy in bed kind of stuff?
Yeah, there were no more sessions as in healing sessions. That was gone out the window. Now all it was sex and oh, I fucking love you, pardon me, but yeah, that kind of language, and yeah, everything else was out the window, and it was all focused around being twin flames and previous lives. And
right, so this was like yeah, I mean we've all seen the messages that this was, what he'd like to do to you, maybe normal boyfriend girlfriend things, but not as a client and healer relationship, where really I just want to say that yeah, I do find it a boundary violation, absolutely, and that's why we're covering this. I feel it's that. Do you? I mean, I'll let you say that. What do you feel about when you look back right now?
yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry, do you feel like it was a boundary violation what he did to you?
Absolutely. It's almost like rape on a soul level. So yeah.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
when it was happening, you were happy. This is you didn't tell Patrick about what was happening. To you, this was almost like a new relationship, right?
It was. At the same time, I wasn't happy with the language he was using, because that and the things he was saying, they did make me uncomfortable. But yeah, it was like a relationship. I did eventually tell Patrick that was when he disappeared again, and I felt even deeper down in this dark hole. That was literally the last straw that pushed me over the edge.
Yeah, but you was in that dark place you was in. I'm so sorry that you were there. We all are. Those suicide thoughts, I know we've spoken about this, were creeping back in a little bit, weren't they, when this was going on? And yeah.
And he knew what he was doing was torture to me, because I told him this hot and cold and disappearing, and I've got abandonment issues. He was well aware of that, and there is a conversation about this as well, that I said to him, please stop doing this. This is torture to me, and you know that. You can't. But he was well aware what he was doing. There was no mistake, no, that he did. Oh, I didn't know. It was very cruel. It seemed like it was very intentional now as well. Looking back, looking at the messages and the way he behaved, it feels like it was intentional.
So let's just go forward a bit here, because obviously this only happened in a very sort of short amount of time as well. When did it start to fall apart, do you think, for yourself with Simon?
it wasn't long. It was, again, he disappeared, and then he popped back, but then he was cold, and he was hot and cold, and then he promised he was going to fly me to England for a week. He was going to pay for my flight, and we were going to see each other, and that never happened.
No. And in your mind at the time, was there any sort of thoughts of like, what am I doing? This is supposed to be someone that's helping me. What was you thinking? Like, is this right? Or was your head, was you just not in that space to when you reflect back on it to think that way?
Well, I knew it wasn't right, but me being me and having the issues I had, I thought it was my fault again.
Right.
That I'd done something wrong, said something wrong, because he's very easily offended. And when you have a conversation via text, it's easy to misinterpret something and misunderstand. He disappeared. I remember we had a conversation, because I'm vegan, and we had a conversation about eating animals is wrong, and then he just disappeared, and he popped back again after a week or two, and then he said he disappeared because the tone I had when I was talking about this had offended him, and he was very easily offended. I felt always like I was walking on eggshells, always.
When did it sort of get to the point where he was threatening you with court action then? What happened around that point?
Oh, that was right at the end, when I actually realised what he is, and I said I was going to expose him, because this isn't a healer, this isn't. And I'd also started doing some research, and found out that I was not the only woman he'd done this to, that there were others. Amongst other things, it was a thread on the Avalon that, about at least one other woman he'd done this to. Yeah, that's when I started realizing that, and also he'd got married to his wife that he's married to now during this time, and I had no idea that she even existed.
Right, that would have been, I think you're talking about Becky. I think that's his. Yeah. Now, you actually went to Becky, didn't you? You actually went to see if, to just let her know that this had happened to you. What was the results of that?
I did. I messaged her. I found her on Facebook and said, I'm so sorry, because I didn't even know she existed. And I thought I would want to know if it was me. And I sent her all the screenshots for the conversations. And all what happened was that she blocked me.
And were there sort of new pictures exchanged between you both, or from one side, or?
No, it was me. I just sent her screenshots of all the conversations.
Yeah, no, sorry, Jeanette. I mean, when you were having this relationship, in a sense, were there pictures exchanged between you and Simon, or?
No, hang on. No, I think I sent a couple of photos, but nothing nude or anything like that. So.
Okay, but the language was definitely I don't know if you can call it. Well, yeah, it wasn't. It was very very sexualized, wasn't it? In a sense, do you know what I mean? Like the things he wanted to do to you and stuff.
Yeah, can I say any of it on here?
You can say all of it if you like, if you're comfortable. Watch the curses if possible.
You can try to describe it, if that's what you feel comfortable doing, yeah.
And just so you know, Kevin, I have the phone call up that we should all be able to
Thanks,
hear
Steve.
now as well.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm so sorry for the issues.
I can't really say it without being vulgar, because it was very vulgar, and
Yeah. Okay. But well, I think we can all imagine what that was, and again, between.
It's not things you say to someone that you've just told is the love of your life, and you twin flame and you spent loads of lives together. You don't. It's not normal.
Right. Yeah, there is that part to it as well. Yeah. I mean, had you met him on a dating site, right, it might be a little bit different, right? We wouldn't be doing this. This wouldn't be happening right now. But you were brave enough to come on to tell your story of seeking help and what happened. And yeah, when you look back on it now, I mean, do you blame yourself or?
Absolutely not. No. No, it's not me. It's I am 100% convinced that he's a psychopath. That's not my fault. And again, I'm not the only one he's done this to, so how can it be my fault? Is it all our fault? No, it's not. And he's the one. He's married. He was when he started with me. He was married to this the woman he's got his children with. And then there's Becky who's married to now. And I forgot where I was going.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's just go back to Becky. When you sent the messages to Becky, what was your response? When you and tell us what you put to Becky.
Just that I was really sorry, that I had no idea that she even existed, or it wouldn't have happened. And but I thought she should know, because if it was me, I would want to know. And then sent her all the screenshots of the conversations off Skype, WhatsApp, and well, maybe the most vulgar ones. And all that happened was instant block. So there wasn't even an exchange of there was no communication. She just blocked me. I have commented on his YouTube videos sometimes, and my comments have been removed. And I think she's the one that's removing them. I don't know that it's either him or her.
Yeah.
So the truth. If it was, none of them want the truth getting out there. They want the lid on.
What, do you feel that you were one of a number of them, or do you think you was the only one?
What, that I was the only one?
To experience what you did.
What, with Becky or?
With Simon?
No. I heard about a woman in the States who said he was going to marry, so she gave up her entire house and everything and then sat there waiting, and he just did his disappearing act as he does. So I know I'm not the only one. God knows how many women he's done this to, and the only reason I'm sitting here doing this is I want to prevent future victims. I'm not enjoying this.
No.
I don't want this to happen to anyone else, and he will not silence me. That is not going to happen.
Yes, because that's what he tried to do. But when he went to silence you with legal, I think he he threatened legal action, didn't he? I think there was I think you told me about a conversation where he said that a police officer had been over listening to the conversation, and he had a local police officer that was gonna, side with him basically to say that this is all you, not him.
And that is bullshit, pardon my language, but no one has a police officer on standby. He's not the Prime Minister, so that's just a lie. Plus the fact that conversation never happened. So when you said that to me, I just said, bring it on. And nothing happened, because what's he going to do? I've got all the proof. He's got nothing. He's the one who's lying. So there's nothing he can do. If
you better be careful. He could call Trump on you,
Oh, the orange man.
With him not acknowledging how you felt and what you went through with him, what could he have done, do you think, to rectify this?
Being honest, being a man, held his hands in the air and said, I'm really sorry, I messed up with you and with God knows how many other women. There's something seriously wrong with me and I'm going to get help.
Yeah.
Like
now
that.
he's going to, he obviously you shared things between each other, likes, dislikes, whatever, personal things and stuff. And was there any time you felt scared that, I wish I never said this because, this could be used against me to make me look like I'm not telling the truth?
No. Again, I've got all the conversations saved, so there is nothing. I've got all the proof that I am telling the truth. There is nothing, absolutely nothing he has, because I am telling the truth. So I've got nothing to worry about.
How did you feel when it all ended and it was all over?
When I finally realised what he was, it was kind of a relief, because as I said, I wasn't happy. One, it was a disappearing act, which literally threw me in deepest, darkest despair. And two, it was the language he used. So I actually wasn't looking forward to meeting him in person and having any kind of sexual relation, because he made me very uncomfortable just the way he was talking, and that's not my thing.
Right, because he was going to come down and meet you, but his car broke down at the last minute. Just tell us about that.
It didn't break down. He said it broke down, and then he said, "Oh, he said, oh, I'm looking into trains to get you up here to me," because I was then in London and he was in Whitby where he lived. And for some reason, I don't know, but that didn't happen. Oh, what a surprise. Because he was married, still living with his wife, and he didn't want to meet me. So it was just all lies. And for him, it's just a power thing. I think that's it. It's the power thing. That's all it is.
Yeah, because I saw one of the messages, and I think one of the final ones was, "Now, why don't you just fuck off?"
Yeah. And that's when I said, "Oh, now finally, you're just showing your true colours."
Yeah. Did that trigger you at all? Did that trigger you at all when he sent that? I mean,
no, it didn't. It was actually good. Again,
right.
it just.
If I could interject something, because I found one of those messages that I found extremely disturbing was, people should be aware that Jeanette went to him in a traumatized state for help, for healing. And in one of the messages, I recall, he told her that her being suicidal or talking about suicide is a huge turnoff for him, and he doesn't want to hear. He does not want to hear that talk anymore, and that's what he went to her for. And meanwhile, he sexualized all these messages, turned this into a big sex caper for himself or something, which to me is deplorable. If this woman, Jeanette, came to him in a traumatized state, looking for healing and looking for help, and instead of helping her, he tells her, "Don't talk about that to me, because that's a huge turnoff for me." Right?
That was actually horrific. When he sent me that, it made
my stomach churn reading that.
Yeah. So did mine.
The thing is that it's hard to strike a balance. We want people to be able to share their psychic gifts or do tarot card readings or past life regressions or whatever it is they feel is their expression of their religious and spiritual sovereignty. But you want to strike a balance between that and making sure that people get professional help when they need professional help, and that people aren't out here practicing, mental health without a license. I mean, there's a reason why in first world nations we have licensing procedures and ethics standards for mental health professionals. And when you go to a guy like Simon Parks or someone, people need to know and understand that, they're not trained. There might be some things that we think in a common sense way might be the good thing to say to somebody who's suffering from depression or might be suffering from depression, or PTSD or whatever. But you may not necessarily know. There's a reason why, people go to professionals, and there can be a danger when people don't go to professionals and go to guys like Simon Parks. Also transference, starting to feel emotions or feelings of emotional dependency upon a counselor or caregiver. That's a very common thing that if qualified mental health professionals get training in how to look for and how to deal with and how to make sure that those boundaries remain healthy and up. But it seems to this whole course of events, not only are we dealing with a situation where we have a situation here where bad things could happen potentially because of the lack of insight into mental health issues or training in regards to boundaries or maintaining them. It seems here we've identified an issue where you have a kind of a predatory person out here. There's going to be people that are going to be attracted to engaging in these sort of endeavors. And yes, will there be quote unquote beautiful light workers who feel called, who feel a calling to bring their gifts and to share their gifts with the other children of Gaia? Sure. It's also going to be a lot of manipulative people out there who are going to identify this community as a community that's easy and ripe for exploitation. So people need to be very, very aware of it. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how to incorporate a set of standards and practices into the new age woo-woo world, but this is what can happen in the alternative.
Some of us have got just a level that we don't go to. Do you know what I mean? It's just an automatic thing not to go to that point. But let me ask you just finally, Jeanette, because I know I want to let everyone else come in, and I know it's even to M Seeker, and I know this whole mental health issue is personal to him as well. But Jeanette, you obviously know that he blamed his alien father, his daddy, for the attacks on women. That's a public statement he made, and there's a public video out there. How does that make you feel that actually wasn't his fault?
It's a load of bullshit. So it's codswallop. Of course it's his fault. He's a psychopath. It is his fault. It's a typical behavior of a predator, blaming everyone else. Nothing is ever his fault. I have never, ever, ever heard him say, "I'm sorry." Nothing is ever his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that people are able to do this when people come to them for help. And I agree with CW Chandler. There's an awful lot of people that are telling people that they can cure people of addiction, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder with their super healing powers, and it should be more regulated. People shouldn't be able to make those claims unless or offer those treatments unless they're qualified professionals. But this is a gray area, and they go right to the line with it,
Well, this is when the barrier's crossed, isn't it? Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no, and as you said, definitely not say that this is a massive turn off, you talking about this, when that was what I was supposedly supposed to get help with. And yeah, it just turned out into a horrible, 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 even worse nightmare.
Do you guys mind? I was wondering, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jeanette, but I was wondering if I could just maybe jump in. Yeah, just a couple thoughts, and especially, I realize that your background is that there was some sexual trauma that had happened to you before, and him having that knowledge, I think is really predatory on his part. That's just my personal opinion, and also, when a woman has sexual trauma or has been abused maybe in childhood, they have difficulty setting up boundaries. When somebody does something inappropriate to them, it's almost like they fall into a trap and they just kind of let it be. And it's like, well, why didn't you say something or do whatever? But you have to realize that that's part of the healing process. And I think that when somebody, as Simon Parks, like Simon Parks is in a position of being a spiritual teacher for people, or he's become that. And there have been a lot of people who've been in gurus or maybe even, head of cults that use that as leverage to seduce somebody. And the fact that he used, we're twin flames as a reason to do it is highly manipulative. I mean, I just want to add that in there.
Sure. And if we could get a comment as well from Tap here, because he's been covering sort of the stuff that is said to the members only, which is so much more out there than the public. The public stuff that Simon says is crazy enough. Right, Tap, but when you covered extensively the stuff that he says to his members list.
Yeah, it is. There are. He has a number of faces in my eyes. I've been covering Simon Parks nearly 4 years now. And excuse me.
Welcome, M Seeker of Truth. I'm so sorry for the audio issues. Now we got you.
Yeah.
You can hear me okay now?
Yeah, now everything's great. I'm so sorry for all the issues. Let's let Tap from the Alethea Project talk about these behind the scenes audio recordings that he's been covering, and then we'll get you for your comments on a lot of this stuff.
It's totally different. Simple questions are asked. Now, Simon has what I call a handler behind the scenes, and he basically approves all the questions, and he talks about what the political landscape and things like this. Now, what he puts out in public videos is sanitized. It is heavily sanitized compared to what is actually said to his CC members. Now, the last CC meeting, I think there was only 72 members, which is still quite a considerable audience. This is where he gives out his dates and he confirms everything, because in approximately 1 hour's time, the world will know that Australia and New Zealand, things are going to happen, because he gives the dates out, and he is very, very specific to his members. Regardless of the topic, he will always stand shoulder to shoulder with Charlie Ward, especially in these meetings. The recordings that I managed to actually get and that have been passed to me, they even shocked me. And I've covered a lot about Simon, and I've read everything about Jeanette, and I've heard about, obviously, your story, Jeanette, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. It really, really is. But it's incredibly unusual that there are people within the CC organization themselves actually work at reasonably high levels within the British government. I know this because I've identified them. I'm not going to obviously come out with their names.
I can't believe that.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
It's absolutely true. Now, my issue is I read Simon's CC website. He's moving across to making a new platform and so on and so forth. Now, Simon's using the Scientology playbook. He's Scientology 101. He's doing what Scientology did in the 70s and the 80s, infiltrate government. Simon wants to infiltrate government, and this is what he is telling his members. He is telling them, go to your councils, become a councillor. He doesn't care what political party they are. He doesn't care. In the UK, we've got the Conservatives, we've got Liberal Democrats, and we've got Labour, other words, Republican Democrats and Liberals. He said, I don't care what political party you are, but I want you in government so we can influence government policy. We can take over funding for children's projects, take over funding for old folks' homes, as we say in the UK. It's absolutely scary. It's frightening what he is telling his members.
And let's not forget, everybody's going to get the medbed sessions, but first he has to overthrow the government, because the government's trying to stop him from giving everybody the medbed technology. I was shocked at some of the stuff that he said behind this.
It's getting into the government contract. It's getting into these contracts, and and I think what you've got there, which you're going to play, I think it's a fascinating tip. When I heard it, Tap.
I've got hours of this. It's absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
Because he said, why wouldn't the local governments want me in there? Because I've got all the money from the QFS. So he's promising all this money, and they sit there, and sadly, I don't like casting aspersions on anybody, but they sit there like drones and just literally no emotion on their faces. And they are literally like sponges, and they are bump. They're sucking this up, but they're interacting, they're asking the questions, and he's giving them the answers they want to hear. And it's re-education. It's infiltrate government. It's the medbed gibberish. It's the QFS gibberish, and absolutely everything like that.
Well, they love him, don't they? They love him. They respect him.
Oh my God! Ivory Tower. He's on some sort of ivory. He's on one hell of a pedestal.
Did I know he was just a driving instructor? Like, why would a driving instructor suddenly get all these high-level government contacts and secret information and be working for Donald Trump. It's so ludicrous to me. Why would Donald Trump pick a driving instructor from England to be his voice on the internet?
Don't forget, he was also a local councillor.
That's true. That's true. He did say he was a lawmaker. Well, actually, he was in charge of potholes and lampposts in a street in Whitby.
Partially in charge.
I forgot about that.
Partially in charge.
Why is somebody from the UK messing with American politics? That's what bothers me about these guys.
Following. They want
Charlie Ward too. Charlie Ward.
Yeah.
Why
you're not part of our country.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is the thing. You can actually follow. If I went back to the very first video that effectively that Simon Parkes put on YouTube. It was 16th of October 2020, where he's talking in a reasonable fashion relating to the upcoming events of November of 2020. Okay. He's saying if this doesn't happen, and they're actually reasonable arguments. Okay. And I understand that. That's not an issue. But his views, I don't care about views on my channel, but his views were 362. Now, suddenly he makes this statement in this very same video that the most credible person, and this is going to make Em laugh, the most credible person that has genuine intel is Charlie Ward. Everything is genuine. This is when they come together and the views
the views
explode.
The views double when they're together. So they
absolutely
routinely stream together. And can we have M Seeker of Truth? Because M Seeker of Truth's biggest video is all these reasons not to trust Charlie Ward. But can you talk about Charlie Ward a little bit and give us some insight into these two working together to, it's like the family that grifts together,
I mean, let's look at the end of last year and the upcoming American presidency. These guys, their views went through the roof. They still are a lot of the time #1 trending on BitChute. These guys, they went through massive heights by telling people what they wanted to hear. There's this hopium factor, and yeah, I mean, I was already on to obviously Charlie Ward. I don't want to talk too much about Charlie Ward in this video because we're talking about Simon here. But
sure,
just briefly, obviously them two were doing videos together, and my God, they were dominating. People were eating up everything that they said, and a lot of it. Now, in retrospect, I mean, we could say it back then. Come on, guys, do you really believe this? All right, let's see then. Right? Okay, it didn't happen. Yeah, but it'll happen next week. No, right? Now, in retrospect, when we look back and it was, where are we now? We're near the end of another year, and all the stuff that they're saying has not come true. And I have people that follow them. Obviously, I get some backlash from their followers, and they're saying, yeah, but a lot of what they say come true. What has? Okay, tell me about it. What's come true? And when they do give me examples, well, okay, that's been parroted by many people.
Or there was internet outages somewhere in the world, and we talked about that. Yeah, there's internet outages all over the world at all times. That's not proof of your fantastical story claims. That's what they do. They pick little things that they can point to and say, "See, we were right about that."
So that they're doing that amongst these massive things that people are overlooking that are not happening. All these dates that didn't happen. The fact that, like I said, I don't want to talk too much about Charlie Ward, but both of them saying, oh, Trump's going to be re-elected. And then Charlie Ward is saying, oh, well, I've seen a pre-recorded inauguration tape, right? This is one of the only things that come back and have to say, because he got massive backlash. Okay, I was duped. If you were duped that one time, if someone has sent you that video and you put it out there, and in fact it was from 4 years earlier of a video of the inauguration of Obama and Biden being, vice, right? And that video is all the way from back then, and you got duped by that. How many more things are you being duped by? Are you being duped by everything that's being sent to you? Are people emailing you saying, "Hi, I'm Q. This is this week's intel"? I mean, is Intel lady in on this? Is she sending stuff? I mean, basically they put out all these dates. They've been wrong about so many things, and how do people still keep clinging on and saying, well, you're the shill because you're pointing out these things. Sometimes they get things wrong, and they even come on their videos and say, well, the deep state, I mean, Charlie Ward has literally said this, the deep state watch us, so sometimes we need to get things wrong on purpose to throw off the deep state. Come on now, right?
So
how many
bizarre.
things do they both need to get wrong, and yet they're still very much popular? So that's all I want to say about that. On the mental health aspect, I listened to your story, Jeanette, and I'm sorry that you went through that. I will say, we're being careful what I say. I will say that I'm not surprised. Why would I say that? Because I have been shared a lot of information, and I've had a lot of accounts. I've had a lot of people talk to me in confidence. They are frightened, shit scared. They don't want me to say, and luckily these people trust me. I mean, I have integrity with this, and I will not. But I'm not surprised. This is not an isolated incident, and this is why it's very important what Jeanette's doing today. And thank you. And what people, what this is all about, because this needs to be known. This stuff happens, and this guy is so happy. And we may all know a lot more than we're sharing here, but we're here for a reason. And there's only so much we can share to try and open people's eyes. And my God, all this stuff that I've just said about before, all these things that are wrong, all these things that never happened, all these things that are wrong about, come on, you can't wake up from that. But let's look at the truth behind their characters here, and what they're doing to people, and the power that they hold over people. It's sickening when that is abused for anyone doing anything like that. And these are the reasons I do. The mental health aspect is the reason I do what I do. The main reason why I do what I do. And we need to alert people to people taking advantage of people. That's what I will say on that matter.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What are these people? What are they frightened of? Because he can't actually do anything. He's in the wrong. Why are they scared? Has he threatened them? Has he?
So I mean, I have a few cases of people. There's some that are just. I mean, it can be terrifying. I mean, when someone manipulates you to such an extent, you can believe whatever they say. It's like that syndrome with not Stockholm syndrome, but it's like if someone's had that.
No, it is Stockholm syndrome, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Someone's had that power over you for so long, and even if you're fighting it back, even if you're having the guts to come and speak to someone that might be able to help you, maybe people speaking to me, maybe in thinking, well, in the future, maybe I want to share it. Maybe you should know if you're talking about it. Maybe this, and I'm sure other people on this panel have had similar, similar messages. So people confiding in me, but then being too scared to go one step further. And there's legal action. Like I say, Simon's so happy. Even Kevin opened this show to say, right, okay, well, we've got to be careful. I've had Simon's legal team talking to me all day. Like, is that bad? He's watching.
And by the way,
right
we just
now.
want to mention that we've sent links for they're welcome to join. Both Simon and his lawyer.
They've both been sent links. Yeah, they are, because no one's absolutely. We're all going to be respectful here, and but I doubt that's going to happen.
It's because he's scared, because he doesn't want the truth getting out there. He's trying to silence everyone. That's what he's doing.
He suppressed it for this long, but how long can you keep it inside the jar?
Not much longer, because there's too many of us now, including Kevin, yourself, CW, and absolutely everybody with Steve. There's more.
That's why we're all here today, because we want to amplify our voices together.
We can act as one, and we can shout this message from a rooftop. And if our rooftop is YouTube, the Twitter, or whatever, it does not matter. The message is we've got to get this message out, because it's dangerous. As CW was saying, it's getting to the psyche, and with them, I know with mental health issues, and Kevin knows about mine. Once they get under your skin, And once they get in your brain, and Simon has claimed that he can get into somebody's mind and he can fix it and alter it. And especially if he's dealing with people with PTSD, regardless of the form of PTSD, whether it be military service, whether it be fire service, or whether it be a family member that's passed away in front of them, it does not matter. PTSD is destructive unless they are helped correctly, unless they get the help correctly. And in no way, shape, or form would I recommend anybody go near anybody that is unqualified to deal, especially with PTSD. Because Simon's biggest claim is he has to become their master. And that's a quote off one of his emails that I've got. He has to become their master.
Oh.
And that alone is scary.
Yeah. So
I thought someone commented here that he's predatory and he should be reported, and perhaps something that I should have done or should do. I don't know.
You can't blame yourself, Jeanette. You can't blame yourself for what Simon has done to you. Jeanette, you are the victim in this all the way. You went. I've read Patrick's emails. I've heard his audio, and I've heard your story. And you know what I mean. And sat here talking to you today. You're one of the bravest people I know, truly. And yeah, I agree. And what they're so clever at getting under your skin. And there are others, and I mean, I can testify, I can guarantee there are others that have suffered at the hands of not just Simon. There are many other of these so-called gurus, healers, whatever you want to call them, that are totally unregulated but cause lasting problems. And you should not blame yourself for not coming forward.
Right, yeah, it's an abusive dysfunctional relationship. It's an exploitation of a power dynamic that is, ever present. These people, whether these people are,
I just soloed you.
I've been soloed. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot to do that earlier. Terrible.
No, but I mean, just the fact of the matter is that this guru relationships are inherently problematic. I've been involved in numerous new religious movements. I've studied new religious movements, so-called cults, so-called, spiritual communes and whatever.
CW Chair tried everything once.
Yeah,
he did. He really did.
Yeah, these power dynamics and relationships are inherently problematic. I don't know if they're ever positive, but there are all sorts of rational arguments made for them. Oh, the guru's trying to teach you an important lesson about loss by taking away all your material possessions. He's making you confront your ego games by watching you have sex with his wife in front of him. Like all these sort of things. But I'll tell you this, is that where there's smoke, there's fire. And with the Simon Parks thing, it always is this exploitation of this dynamic guru as master, dynamic. And a lot of, people that, manifest that sort of, picadillo are people that have control issues and, have this extreme, need for ownership over another person. I mean, I remember one of the things that was very controversial that he was engaged in is that he was promoting a practice called courting, where part of the session that he was running with quote unquote clients. Again, are these clients? Are they disciples? Are they devotees?
Yeah.
If you're being taught that there's specific things that he can do and only he can do as a gift of his triune crystalline soul, then there's a Messiah complex issue going on there as well. And an inherently exploitative relationship and weird thing. But the thing that he was doing, this thing called courting, where he was having basically people meditate upon visualizing at all times a cord connecting their heart and his. I mean, that's a classic, brainwashing technique. You identify with me, I identify with you, meditate upon all times upon our connection, and then you're doing the work for them, and a guy only needs 15 to 25 followers to do nothing for the rest of his life and feel fine about it. It's the dirty little secret. It's a shame, but it's the truth. You got 15 or 25 people willing to give you all their money. People can say whatever they want to about you on the internet. You're going to be hurting a lot of people for a long, long time.
And people in the live chat are asking about playing some of the evidence. So, Kevin, I have this queued up. This phone call is
Sure,
not very
sure.
long. I think we
And
should play it.
I think we
Let me-
should. And I just want to say one thing as well to Terry as well. In regards to the USA, he has just said recently in one of his videos, the answer is in the USA. And I think what he meant, the money is in the USA. I think he forgot to say that. And actually, Tap as well, you know, when we look at what the connecting consciousness is, it's more like a political lobbyist group, but it does state in the about section, doesn't it, which we talked about a few days ago, of what it really stands for. And very briefly, just before we get to this video, which I know we've got to get to, what did it say?
It said about the re-education, and it said about changing government policy, not just at local level, it was national level, right across it.
Okay,
Right.
wonderful.
Can I say one more point on that, though? Like, what he is doing is considered domestic terrorism in the United States. The Buanon situation, it's been on the domestic terrorist watch list since 2017. So I'm just going to point out that you have somebody from the UK that's not a part of the United States meddling in a situation that is getting really nasty for us here. You know, if you leaned, even if you don't want to take the jab, you are automatically thrown into the the Buanon pile. So, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's okay. And I mean, I just want to make that point that it's leading to something very dangerous, and he's a part of it.
His actual aim is through local, national, and international spiritual groups, through education, research, and debate, uncovering the truth, thus increasing awareness and informing people. Now, changing public policy and attitudes, influencing government, encouraging questions, empowering debate, leading to the establishment of truth. Now, it's the government issue where it is talking about the spiritual development, education, and governance. He's talking about re-educating, and he said that in one of the clip videos that we've got.
Yeah, which we're going to play. Yeah, which we're going to. Yeah. So let's play this video, but we've got to play that stuff, Tap, as well, which will lead into what we're just talking about there, definitely.
Yeah, and let's see. Can you guys hear this?
I guess Jeanette told you a bit about the story. I watched a couple of shows on YouTube. I'm not sure if it was the JP Wolf Spirit Radio, I think. Yeah. So I've been following him for a while, and I had also booked my own session, I think 5-6 months before, but I was still waiting for my own session with Simon. I had heard him say in a couple of shows that he helped people who were suicidal. And I thought he sounded genuine and, you know, caring and all that. And also, how can I put it? For people with very spiritual people, it might be difficult to get help in the mainstream healthcare with, you know, psychological issues. So I thought Simon seemed to be very, you know, on the same frequency as Jeanette.
Pardon me.
And he seemed to be genuine enough to help people who were suicidal, and even do it for free if he didn't have any money. So 7-8 years, something like that. Yeah, the major part of it took part in 2016. Some of the story is in May 2017 when we discovered that. As you say, there were other people who had similar experiences with Simon as Jeanette had. And I think I have the email address to his organizer, thanks to a friend who already had a session. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been able to get in contact with them. Yeah, I mean, this is a couple of years ago, and it's hard to remember exactly, but I remember she started talking with him in May 2016, and I think, let's say July, maybe August, I became aware that he told her he loved her. And initially it seemed like just more like a friendly love, like soulmates. They've been They knew each other from previous lifetimes, that sort of thing. But after a while, maybe a couple of weeks more, I found out about the messages of sexual nature. I was disgusted. I immediately realized that he was sort of preying on a person who was in a very, very vulnerable situation and in a very, very serious situation. Not just any. Let's just say that in April, I talked her into not committing suicide, on a daily basis, just day by day. Please don't do it today. Please don't do it today, for a couple of days. And then after a couple of days, I managed to extend that to a week, and then another week, and then another week. And after a while, maybe more like a monthly basis. So it was very, very serious. I emailed his organizer quite a few times when he didn't show up. So that was that part. And I discovered that because I had assumed that she had at least talks with him like every week or something like that. But she told me that she only had contact with him via email. So that was a little bit surprising to me. So when I found it hard to reach Simon, because I called him, I texted him. He replied to some text message, I remember. And I emailed him, but most of the time he didn't reply. And so I realized that she had some problems reaching him too. I think there are a lot of question marks, but I'm very sure that he's not at all the person he portrays himself to be. His organizer told me about 5 other women, and one had actually sold all her belongings. She was in the United States, so she had sold all her belongings and was ready to move to England to marry Simon. So she told me that. I did come in contact with one other woman that was personally also. So I think those are the ones. Yeah, and I mean, in this case, we're talking about suicidal people, so it couldn't be any worse situation, in my opinion, to do that. Yeah, and I mean, I can add that I was pretty much 24/7 support for her through all of this. I very much doubt that she would be alive if I hadn't been there. So, yeah, a lot of time and effort to give her support through all this. No, I mean, I remember many long nights, many hours of conversation and trying to support her. And many parts of this story with Simon just made it a lot worse. So, I mean, looking back, it would have been better if she didn't have any contact with him whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, I realized during this journey that, I mean, not necessarily all these people who I think many people view as gurus are what they seem to be. So I think there needs to be a lot more discernment.
So there we go. Very,
Wow.
very revealing, because there's an additional witness. It's not just Jeanette's word here. There's additional witnesses to these events. So it's going to be very difficult for Mr. Parks to squirm out of this one. And as in previous allegations made against him, he got a handler and did a live stream where he blamed his alien father for hurting those women. He didn't hurt those women. His alien father hurt those women. And I just want to point out also, it probably was Intel Lady that I heard mention that Simon Parks originally said that he had an alien mother. But when he went to the Buanon people, he changed that. He retconned it. He no longer had an alien mother. After he went to the Buanon letter of the alphabet conspiracy grift, he started saying that his mother was, you know, an intel agent for the English government. Was it MI5? You guys call it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the narrative is very complicated because basically what he's always argued is that he's basically had 4 sets of parents. He has a biological father and mother on planet Earth that he acknowledges, though their stories about them have transformed and changed. And then he also had this kind of real soul parents, which was this Mantis Queen alien and Anu, the space god, like the Babylonian space god. Honestly, like, and the fact that, like, it's only in this world, we come to this world where a guy, a former driving instructor who looks like, you know, the ghost of friggin' Don Knotts, you know,
With a sweep over and all.
is able to come into this world and kind of almost be like a kind of Lothario, or kind of, Casanova. And it's only in this weird little world. But yeah, but obviously, yeah, but it's true. The evolution with the Buonon thing, there was a total retcon. And what it basically happened is that he was always telling these stories about his mom being associated with MI5. But then the Mantis mother takes a total snooze. She's mothballed, and the mom turns into this like central figure, and the grandfather as well. It's this central figure in this complex dance between the NSA, the CIA, the MI5, the MI7 through 99, and all this stuff.
And the father. Yeah.
Oh, and the father,
yeah, because I don't know if this has changed. You might be able to tell us, CW China, but even when even with the alien mother and things like that, I mean, on his website it is stated that his mother was working for the MI5, but actually she was working for the NSA, right? She was double agent, and was a grandfather was a Freemason who his grandfather was a Freemason who was offered a knighthood. His father was working for an agency as well. I mean, there's so many ties to intelligence agencies and Freemasonry and all sorts in his actual background. It makes you think,
right?
And then there was that religious organization.
Well. Let's throw everything in there.
CW Channer, you covered there was some religious organization that he claimed, like,
he's one of these guys that it's actually kind of, it's like a hobby. It's like it's a fun little game that you can play at home. You listen to them tell a story, and you say to yourself, now there's something here that's true. That the whole thing is fantastic and it's fantastical, but there's like some actual kernel of truth here that's this thing is built upon. And basically what he said was that he was like contacted by this esteemed religious, Taoist church that wanted to bless him and Becky for all the work that they had done for humanity. And I was like, Taoist church and where he's living. And I found what is obviously the place. And it's just a group of Taoist folks, perfectly well-intentioned, Salisbury Hill, refugees, with their Birkenstock sandals and their, white dreadlocks, and I'm sure a whole bunch of Taoist insight that'll just beat the band. But this appears to be the group that he's talking about. But it goes to show you that if you could, they take a regular, old, everyday life encounter, and they build all this stuff into it. It's like his famous story about going to the Museum of Aeronautics, or that base, where he was obviously given a run-of-the-mill 9 to 5. Here we go. We have to do this bullshit.
A tour anybody could get.
Given a tour that anybody could go on, with full of like wacky little, the sky's the limit Star Trek jokes that Simon Parkes is obviously going to take to this community and turn into a fabulous adventure story of being given, secret coded messages, while he was there to have, ricochet with the friggin' powers that be over,
he was meeting with General Flynn
on Mars or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's where TAP's research really comes into this. He's really researched the grandfather background, the RAF base, The birthday card, which he won't, he still won't, he still says that it was him, which it's not, because we've now interviewed the photographer of the birthday card that he says was him, and he said it's just well, his comments were he's a bold-faced liar. But then his solicitor today said, "How can you prove that? How can you prove that was not him?"
The photographer pressed the shutter button. But
Sure. Well, they've signed that. They've signed the
release forms.
Form.
There's a model release form with
it's
it.
all a cover up by Big Hallmark, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, because he quotes and misquotes himself all the time, and I've noticed that from his early videos. It's the same as RAF Islandales. Now, I'm very passionate. I'm ex-RAF. I served for 15 years. All my family are ex-military. My father retired. He did 34 years. But he goes on about Filingdales. Now, I've worked at 2 RAF stations, one a direct result of over-the-horizon radar for early warning defense system of Europe and the United Kingdom. Now, this one. Oh, do you know what?
This is the most bizarre one, because it's so just strange, right?
I contacted.
And for those who don't know, can somebody explain what happened? So he goes into a card shop and he sees this greeting card.
Tap, you go for it, man, because you
go for it, because you know this better than me.
He does. He walks to his they open a local. It's called a Hallmark shop in Whitby. So he goes down and he's browsing through, and then he walks past this stand, and lo and behold, he has to do a double take, because he sees what he thinks is a picture of himself. So he takes the card off, and he's with whoever he's with, and goes, "Oh my God, that's me." He's holding this card up. That's me. So he goes to the cashier and starts talking and driveling on as he normally does, and said, "This is me. Have you got any of these?" Let's really cut the story reasonably short. So there's 7 of them. He buys all 7 of them.
I bought the store out.
Yeah, 7 cards
on those cards.
Yeah, exactly. So he runs back to his house. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. He's kind of panicking. What's happening? So he does his own investigation and weird stuff. He gets his lawyers involved. Simon Park's trait. And he comes out with this fanciful story that basically that he can't remember being photographed, and the teddy bear that you see in that image there has been put over an image. In other words, it's been photoshopped into the card to hide whoever he was sat next to. Now, Simon claims this was taken in London around about in the early 90s in a Rolls-Royce Phantom 4. Well, it wasn't. We've even identified the car for him as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. So he goes into all this story. Now, a friend of mine has actually held this card in her hand, looked at it, and he goes, "Okay, that's not Simon." And you can actually see it's not Simon. So he goes on this this channel. What was the channel, Kevin? I can't remember.
It was Miles Johnson, the Amash product.
Yeah, the Amash. Yeah, that's it. With Miles Johnson. So he does all this big story. So basically, all I do is I Google that image, and it comes up and literally reverse search Google. Thank you very much. It's really good. And it comes up with a photographer's name. It's been downloaded from Getty Images. The guy's name, I'm sure he won't mind, is a gentleman called Stuart Cohen. So I send him an email, and I sent him a link to the video and said, "Please look at this. This gentleman," I name him, obviously Simon Parks, is claiming this is him. So he sent an email back to me, and I'll quote him on this because it's quite funny. Well, I don't need to quote him on it, but we have this back and forth, and I said, "Can you confirm this is Simon Parks in this image?" He went, "Well, it's not," because at the time Simon was in London. Now, this image was taken in Dallas, Fort Worth by Stuart Cohen, who is he's a producer, he's a photographer, he's into he does fantastic work.
Mm-hmm.
And his quote that came back to me, and I quote, "He's a bold-faced liar." And that's from the owner of the image, the legal owner of that image. So Simon makes this card up, thinks it's obscure, and, well, it's not. If you reverse search it, there was one entry for this card. for that image, and it was on Getty Images, and that's where he got it from. But
Yeah, and if he would lie about something so stupid, you know.
But he claims it was a message from MI5, you see, because MI5 were telling him to why would MI5 send you 7 birthday cards?
Yeah, well, no, it's self-aggrandizement and self-importance out the wazoo.
Oh, obviously, I mean, they don't want to miss the next 7 years of his life, but I can assure you, being ex-military, even the secret services in any country, they don't generally give you a warning. They just rock up and knock on the door and say hello.
Right. But it's scary when his lawyer, when I was speaking to him today, and we did break contact, the signal went, so we misunderstood each other a little bit, right? But I'm sure he said to me that, how can you prove that's not Simon?
Well, I mean, look, the lawyer's going to say, and the lawyer's going to do what the lawyer has to say and do.
Sure.
They've got a job to do, which is they're gonna present the best case or argument that their client even has.
I've heard different numbers, from 7 cards, 9 cards. I even contacted the newspaper for a comment, and no response. And I'll keep doing it until they respond.
Yeah, but what's classic is you have to visualize this. At one point in an average everyday week, in England, Simon Parks wanders into a Hallmark store, right?
Yeah.
setting into motion a chain of events that culminates with people with way too much time and way too much intelligence doing things like reverse engineering the origin of the Simon Parks teddy bear. I mean, I've done that too. I've gone down that total rabbit hole where you're like, I'm going to solve this. You're like, you see, that's not it with the teddy bear. I proved it. And meanwhile, the people that are the Simon Parks fans are like, oh, you got the Illuminati shill who took the photo on behalf of the Zionist-controlled government. You got him to throw Simon Parks under the bus, which only proves that Simon Parks is indeed a saint. An angel sent here by the Manchurian.
This birthday card with this huge teddy bear has got to be a sign from the deep state that he's on. I'm trying
to figure out, even from a military standpoint,
what's the message?
Yeah, it's so bizarre. And just so everybody is aware, I did this completely on the fly, but all I did was upscale this image and equalize it. I did 10 seconds worth of work to this, and you can clearly see it bears some slight resemblance to him. This guy's got a lot more.
Slightly balding white guy with glasses.
There's about
300 million.
There's about as much resemblance. It looks like a really poor parody of a Charlie Ward Simon Parks video, doesn't it?
It looks like Intel Lady to me. That could be Intel Lady just as well as it could be
SpongeBob.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that looks like Simon Parks. Yeah, what an idiot.
But his top people around Simon, they'll never criticize this. They could watch this video and be like, well, a bunch of wankers doing this show, cool stuff. They never want to acknowledge it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you're over the target, they've got 1,003 expressions. When you're over the target is when they're going to come at you the most. So being called an asshole on the internet is proof that you're telling the gospel truth.
Think about the thought process, like C.W. Channer mentioned. Like he's just walking around on a Saturday. He goes into a card store and he goes, you know what? I could sell this story. I'll tell people that's me in that image. And it's so easy to disprove it.
Or is he delusional though? I mean, does he really believe that that's him? I mean, okay.
He does it in his conference. Well, I don't know if he believes it's him, but if you look at all his conferences going back, even his very early ones, this is right at the beginning when he does his introduction and he goes on about his grandfather and his family. Oh, by the way, they did this to me with his birthday card. He's always used this birthday card as proof that MI5 and the British Secret Intelligence Services are onto him. They're warning him. He's too good for them, because even now the CIA want to give him a job. They're always following him.
How can he take that job? He's already working for Donald Trump, though.
Well, I know. Dairy Queen. Give him a job in Dairy Queen. I don't know.
Yeah, this actually featured on the Miles Johnson. I think it was like a 3 or 4 part video series before the videos got taken down. 4 was it? Yeah. And at the beginning of that series, he talks about being on one of his craft ships, one of his father's UFO ships, and bringing into imagination or bringing into reality a grown woman and having sex with that woman at 6 years old, and then eating her.
Oh,
yeah, being offered cannibalism. Yeah,
that's right, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, the lady from the Ferrero Rocher advert. That was it.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Turkish Delight.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Oh, was it Turkish Delight? That's right.
Delight? Oh,
yeah.
It was Turkish Delight.
No, Turkish Delight. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Turkish Delight. Yeah.
I mean, 6 years old, right? It's a very sexualized kind of childhood, isn't it? When he talks about it sometimes. In that respect, I mean.
Well, in a way, I do feel for him. I have to say this. I don't think he had a very happy upbringing, for whatever reason. And I think that a lot of the things he speaks about, this so-called Mr. Dunlop, chasing him around the dining room whilst reading highly classified UFO material. Yeah. I think that these were incarnations that basically a childhood. Everybody has imaginary friends, and I think he created, and I'm not having a go at him. I think he created a world that sadly, as a child, because there was no love. There's no evidence of this love. His mother with the alcoholism and things like this, he always talks that his mother was away all the time. He was left at home at a very young age. And I think he created this world and somehow walked through the door and it slammed shut behind him.
Created it to cope. Absolutely. I agree. I agree with you. And I have wondered this. I theorized this. When you have a childhood like that, where you're not feeling love, as you say, where your mother's not there all the time, where you're eating dinner alone. Where he even says in the documentary that he did regarding his alien mother, etc., that that he got certain things from his alien mum that he didn't get from his biological mother, and he got certain things like clothes and things like that, material things from his Earth mother, and that for me screams that he's created this narrative to try and cope with a difficult upbringing. So I think you hit the nail on the head there.
I totally agree with you. I really do.
That's what I thought too. And even though you feel sympathetic to him for having a childhood like that, it still doesn't excuse him for doing what he's doing, or it looks like he's doing now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I am 100%.
Well, we don't know if he's doing it yet. I mean, this was what happened before. And this is the first time someone's come forward with the facts of their story, backed up with in a number of ways, including what we just heard there with her friend Patrick as well, which was very telling. Jeanette, is he? It's all alleged, isn't it, right now? Before anything, anything past that time.
But the fact that Jeanette's here and giving her own testimony, and Kevin, I know that you've sent us the emails, so I've witnessed them with my own eyes, and there's legal reasons that you can't say it, but and there's more women. It looks more. I mean, it seems more like you can't ignore it as it not possibly being a fact, even though it's still right.
Yeah, for me, like I told Kevin, this is I'm oh my god, almost at 4 years, sorry, and I don't know, I've got about 10-15% of what I think I'm going to actually get in the end, and I'll get it, and I will find it all, but it's not that I'm going after him in a nasty way, a vindictive way. I'm not going after him in that way. I'm exposing to protect others. And with Jeanette being here as well, this screams volumes, and we know of the others. And that's my role. That's my job.
Well, just to remind you as well, sorry, CW, Simon did email me over the weekend just to say that, if Jeanette, is going to tell a story, and I'm personifying his words right now, but, anything that's not correct, paraphrasing, anything that's not correct, he will be going after her. Well, they're going after me right now, but he did say going after her. Yeah, that's what
There was also a warning not to share the letter because they'd get us for copyright. The letter, even the letter that they sent you, we can't share because they copyrighted the letter, which is basically
no.
an angry lawyer letter.
Yeah, I told you about that letter. Yeah, I'm not shared it with any of you, but I've told you about what's been said.
What's he going to do to me? He can't. We'll bring it on in the courtroom. Then I've got all the proof to show. He's got nothing. So it's just ludicrous.
For someone that's this worried, it screams to me that he's trying to hide something, right? That threatening legal action. Don't share this. Don't share that. If she talks, I'm going to sue you. Come on, that's not an innocent man. I mean, I've had attacks recently, as you guys know. Some people would have been in the show that pre-show that I did, where I was making a statement about some sick things that Charlie Ward had been saying about me with no evidence, right?
Zero evidence.
Absolutely zero evidence. And I show where he's got that
ridiculous things to say about somebody with no evidence.
Exactly. I mean, it's sick. And for anyone that's not seen that after this broadcast, please go back and watch the video that I streamed before we went live. So and spread it around because this stuff, I mean, I don't want to sound like a Simon Parks, but I should sue them. And I should be
I think you should. I think you should.
Yeah. It's awful.
There's better things. Sorry,
they didn't say to me beforehand, we're going to share this stuff. If they did, I would have laughed at them, firstly, because I would have said, go on then, put yourself in that hot water, because at the end of the day, you've got nothing, right? Yeah. It sounds like Jeanette, he was worried about what she was going to say. It sounds like he's worried about what you're going to share, Kevin. You've been very admirable by keeping him in the loop, inviting him on the show. Kevin, you've been brilliant. Through all this towards him, and all he's done is thrown, threats and made you walk a tightrope.
Well, I was told today, do not put this show out under any circumstances. This show does not go out. To give him the questions first, for then Simon to answer them through the lawyer. And I was like, well, we're not putting out anything out which isn't based on just fact. Everything that we've said here is based on fact. The fact of Jeanette, the fact of your research, Tap, yourself, C.W. Chancer, Terry Joyce, Steve Cameron. We're not saying things which aren't already out there or creating things that aren't true. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Facts don't care about your feelings. I'm telling you that. And
why didn't he come on here himself if he's so innocent? I mean, I would have.
Right.
I
would have done,
I would be on here in a heartbeat. If anybody made this,
you don't need to lawyer up if people are telling lies about you just yet. You let them tell the lies, and then that's my opinion.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
If somebody's going to go on the internet and lie about you, you don't preemptively threaten them with lawsuits before they do a story about you. You wait until the story airs, and then if there's reason to, you contact the lawyer. But he seems to be, my big thing is the only person that fears questions or people talking about their previous actions is somebody with something to hide. And to lawyer up like that, to me, it's my opinion, and speculation is very suspect.
Yeah.
If I could just double back to two earlier points. Number one is we touched upon the notion that the things that Simon says are probably based on things that actually occurred in his life. We see, when I look at any of these secret space program, whistleblower, alien contactee, channelers, Christ conscious gurus, whatever, whenever you listen to them and their testimony, you can always kind of clearly see the blueprints for what happened, the trauma that they're dealing with and trying to process in some way, the characters in their life, the abusive mom, the alcoholic father, whatever the case may be, the pieces that are missing, the things that are still being sought or needed. I mean, it's all there, and it can make you sympathetic and empathetic to them to a degree, but there's harm being done. And that's to build off something that the Althea Project touched upon is the motivation of why we do these things. We do these things because in the marketplace of ideas, it is dangerous just to let Simon Parks be the only person in the Simon Parks business. If Simon Parks is the only person in the Simon Parks business, then when people come along who are interested in the starseed phenomena or alien contactees or QAnon or whatever, if they're just the only thing they know about Simon Parkes is what Simon Parkes has to say, they're at a disadvantage. They could end up finding themselves involved in something that maybe they didn't ask all the critical questions they needed to about something.
And
so
that's
having
really
other
good
people
lead-in.
talk about this stuff means that people are going to be exposed to a multiple series of ideas and thoughts about this complex character called Simon Parkes. So, it's a thankless job, but we do it, and it's fascinating, and it's daunting, and it makes you want to pull your hair out, what's left of it, every time you see these people who are like, how can you still buy this? How can I point out the problems with the Hallmark photo and you come back with doubling down on the Hallmark photo?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Well, this leads perfectly what you're saying there, CW, into what Tap is wanting to just share with us as well, with that audio. If Stephen's able to share that at all.
Yeah, that might be a problem too.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
Let me see what I could do, because I have the files. Next time I'm going to do an entire day of prep before we try something this ambitious. A little bit of, I went, this will be no problem. So my apologies to the panel and to the audience. What we could do is put a resource guide together directly after the stream. I'd be more than willing to take the audio, clean it up, that phone call we heard, and these other audio, and we'll put it to one video, which I can share to all the panel members that they can share to their audiences as well. And I'll put it on a Google Drive so anybody can get it.
Okay,
but,
then.
Tap, if you could just describe some of this stuff and this
Mm-hmm.
research. And in the meantime, I'll try to see what I could do about that.
We're down to dramatic reenactments over here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Put on the glasses when you're doing the Simon Parkes voice. It'll really sell it.
I need to draw. I need a marker pen to draw a comb over.
Oh, there you go.
Right, come over.
Probably end up looking better than this if you do it blind.
The audios I shared, let me just quickly, it'll take me 2 seconds. I will go to.
But you know what? If you have them and you can share them, I just
what
click
about
them and
that?
put them on the screen. Can we try that?
Yeah, I'm just hang on. Let me just give me 2
Just
seconds.
because I'm a technical failure doesn't mean the Tap is. We have to.
I'm an absolute okay. Right, leaked. Let me just go to my leaked audio.
In my defense, we tried some of this earlier. I even practiced the restreaming, like the simulcasting
comes up
with
on my
Kari.
computer.
And Kari's like, yeah, you just do X, Y, and Z. It's no problem.
Sure.
So I apologize to MC. We thought we had it worked out with an instruction guide and all. I'm going to do a new one when we do work it out for future things where we'll have screenshots of exactly how to do each step to make it work.
I just had to leave Lyman's apartment and go into the green screen room.
Right, I think I've got it. Yeah, I can share a number of them. Where have you gone? Oh, there you are. I've just got rid of the screen. I can share a number of them. View. Let me just get rid of that.
So these have been leaked, obviously.
To me, yeah.
Yep.
So let me go to share screen. I take it. Where am I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Screen.
We share a video file. Let me see what it does on the video. Will it share a video file, Steve?
Yeah, I think so, but it might bounce up.
Right. Okay.
It'll ask Stephen to share it, won't it? If you put it up, if you try and share the video.
I'll share the screen. I'll share the screen. Share screen. Okay. Share screen. There we go. Share that one. Right.
Okay. We'll see if yours works and we can hear yours. I don't know why.
Right. This is called Murder, and this is ridiculous. Let me open it with QuickTime Play. You should be able to hear this.
You might have to share QuickTime Player, not this.
Can you hear that?
There's something in the background, yeah. You just might need to turn it up a little bit.
Turn it all the way up if you can.
Right, hang on.
Yeah, it's really garbled and low. I guess we're not going to.
Right, okay. Hang on a sec then. Let me see if this one works. This is MP4. Is that garbled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low volume. Why don't you try sharing file? instead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll share the file. Okay, hang on a sec. Let me just stop sharing. Let me go to one more time. I'll share the file.
And I'd like to remind people this is a live show and you get it warts and all, so these things will happen. But we will provide a resource guide. That's the way that I can save this,
Yeah.
Or I could blame my producer that doesn't exist, because I have to do all this stuff myself as well, Blame the Taft's
there we go.
producer.
I found it now. History. There we go. Hang on. View. What's going on now? I love. Can you see any of these files yet?
No.
Right. Okay. Right. Clip
I think
5.
you need to open the file through share file, and it should give Stephen the option to share it.
Yeah. Now I got it.
Hi, Simon.
Now I got it. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Lovely to see you.
This is MedBed.
Yeah, you too.
This is MedBed.
A couple of
Now we
questions,
can hear
Simon.
it,
First question is, do you have any news on any updates on the med beds? And the second question is, if you've got any shares in the stock market, will when they sort of press the red button, so to speak, will you lose all your money in the stock market, all your shares, or will it go onto the new system? How does it operate? Thank you.
I'll take it backwards. Unlike a bank, it's not going to be protected.
Right.
Only the bank, your money in the bank will be protected, because the deal was that when you put your money in the bank, they promised to look after it for you.
Okay.
So if they rob you of it, it will be replaced. The stock and shares were always explained to the punter that they could go up or they could go down, and that was the risk you took. So if you invest in the stock market, like crypto coins, for instance, and they go down, you will not be reimbursed. So that things like common law can come in, things like med beds can come in. What I can say to you is that once the green light goes, then they will be replicated at a very fast rate. Britain, because CC is in Britain, Britain will get its fair share of med beds, because we've been promised them. It doesn't mean that other places won't get them, but I know that I don't know whether I'll physically get called or I'll get some form of encrypted video conference, but I know that someone is going to say to me, right, where do you want them? Just like that. That's what will happen. I've got to say, well, I've got these countries. I've got England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, and I want them in the principal cities. I can't put them in the rural areas to start with. It'll be in the principal cities. So we will have coverage, and we'll do better than France. We'll do better than France, because they don't have what we've got. We've got a connecting consciousness, the head of whom is a signatory to certain things. So the answer is yes. The difficulty is getting people through quickly because we will be oversubscribed. So, but we'll deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right. Have I got one more question, or is that it now?
There's 2 hands up, but we did say just one more.
That's his second in command there, I think, isn't it, David?
The med beds. The key for the med beds is the replicators. Med beds are not being made; they're being replicated. The difficulty is the storage. They're being stored underground in underground bases. They're not being stored above ground because this is too secret technology, and they are not making many of them at the moment. They're waiting for the go-ahead. The replicators are in the right positions. Something like we expect 5 million replicators. Wow. So if each makes 10 a day, then you can work out where we're at. So in terms of the question though that you were really asking is, are the med beds available? Who's going to get them? Where they're going to go? No information on that at all. Frankly, because what's more important is the process to remove cabal government who would stop us putting the med beds out. So our interest, our focus, our intel gathering is on this phase of the cabal government being removed.
Right. I've now just quickly downloaded all the other.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Thank you for the quick save. Much appreciated, Tap.
Yeah, I've got the one with the murder. I've got the one with the troops, and I've got the one with the local.
Well, while you cue that other one up, I just want to mention that the Manhattan Project was the most secret United States government project in history, and they did their work above ground. So for him to suggest that he's got med beds and they got to be stored underground because they're so secret is absolutely ridiculous and just childish.
Where is this massive expansion plans coming from? This massive money that is going to be injected into CC? You know, it's talked about coming from the QFS, but like I said in an email to Simon, you're going to tell your people it came from QFS, but actually it came from the court case that you've just won, and the assets that you're going to remove from the family members that those assets belong to, you're going to move it into your own personal name, obviously, and it will go eventually into CC. That's what I said to him, was my take on how you're going to get all this money to employ people, because you won the case on technicality, I believe, but
you can't get blood from a stone. There's no debtors' prisons in America. There's no debtors' prisons in the UK. You can get awarded attorney's fees till the cows come home.
Britain,
the notion that automatically turns into
you all know about the army.
It might be wrong. It might be different in England.
Wait a second. Sorry.
Yeah, that was
good. That's a good point, CW. Yeah, that's a good point.
You're sharing multiple screens here, and I'm getting confused here. So let me get rid of that one. Okay, and we'll go to this. This is the
there
next
are other
one
countries where they are now
series,
trying to enter people's houses to force vaccinate them, and I have been asked whether it is now right to kill police or medical workers who are trying to force their way in to force vaccinate people's children. We have got CC members in those countries now who have just gone on the run. They've taken their children and they are in hiding. We've got CC members who are joining in groups and arming themselves, ready to literally fight to the death.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. So the danger here is that he's more or less giving people permission to hurt people that are healthcare workers.
He's not telling them don't do it.
Yeah. And just everyone, just remember this. This is not what he broadcasts out on any platform. This I'm right, Tap. This was leaked from internal
members only.
Members only. Yeah, right.
That's
what's really going on.
That's another classic cult technique, is that there's the outer teachings, there's the teachings and information that's available for everybody, the public relations information, and then there's the behind the scenes shenanigans with the true doctrine and the true secrets and the true power movements and espionage behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and it's normalizing politicized violence. It's basically saying. And it's encouraging people to feel the fear is that people get plugged into this world of connecting consciousness. They get into this inner circle. They pay their membership. They get the Patreon benefits, whatever the case may be. And then they're hearing this. And if this is the world that they're plugged into, this is the information that is fueling their political decisions.
Yeah,
these are the decisions that are fueling their attitude and opinions when they're gripping their gun that they got for home protection when there's knocks on the door. And it's starting this false narrative that people are breaking into people's houses to make them get inoculated, which is not the case.
It's absolutely not true.
There's a lot of fear mongering too. He's playing into people's fears, which is another classic thing that a lot
disinformation, misinformation, and it's being exploited for the cult of Parks.
Exactly. This next one, the one that's now ready, Simon, Stephen, sorry.
Okay, let's add that to the stream here.
This one is about.
But of course, what people weren't told was that they were told there were 200. It was actually 400. 200 were in civilian clothes. I can now tell you that in parts of northeast England, the military now are driving ordinary ambulances.
Okay, here we'll get rid of that one. We'll try and share another one.
Yeah, let me just remove that one. I'll bring you the local government one up. Which is
he's an expert on that because he was put in charge of telephone poles and
potholes and street lights.
Just at last time was blooming awful. Sorry, I'm another invader from across the bridge, so apologies. I've come to your lovely country. This is just a question, and it's probably more up Simon Street, being a somebody who is involved in politics. But are we going to involve ourselves, and is it an idea to involve ourselves with local councils, local government, so we can actually facilitate a smoother running between the two with projects? Because obviously they're going to be part of the problem as well.
One of the projects that we've got up for grabs will be educating and training local men and women who want to be councillors in whichever, England or Wales, because what we need are people who are not corruptible to get into council. I'm talking about the longer term, but to actually be elected. It doesn't matter what banner you go under. We're not a political party, so nobody's yet asked me to form a political party. But basically to get men and women into council who are not corrupted. So that's one aspect to it. The second aspect, no, it's okay. Because what will happen is that when we start putting in sizable projects, then I will, and it doesn't matter whether it's Wales or Scotland, it will be me, will be talking to the chief executive of whichever local authorities, and seeing how much leeway we have. For instance, there's absolutely no point in me putting in a project that supports carers and people who need caring if the local authority is going to come in and say, oh, you can't do that, you can't say that. No point. So change must be financial, spiritual, and political. Now, if we can't get the change through mediation, then I will literally just have to pick the phone up to America and say, we're really being stymied here, we're being blocked here. Can you send a man round to somebody's door and have a word with them? That's literally what we'll have to do. So the hope is that sitting on a table with a cash-strapped local authority and saying, how would you like me to run all your youth centres and pay for it? CC members are going to have jobs, and they're going to be trained as youth workers, and we'll pay for everything. You don't have to worry about anything. However, these are the changes
that's where it's going
that we want to the program, and
this is
they're going to find it very difficult to turn around and say no, because what they want to do is to offload all this responsibility, especially if it's not statutory responsibility, because they're not funded for it. So it's this battle between them wanting the money and preparing to back off, or being very old-fashioned or being very Kabbalistic and saying no. So we'll have a plan and we have a strategy. So that was a two-pronged answer to your question. I hope that was okay for you.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, you want to say something?
And we're coming to your pizza place, and it's a real nice pizza place. It'd be a real shame if anything happened to it.
He's literally threatening English government officials with American intervention if they don't do what he feels is right.
Yeah,
so he's threatening the English government with the American government, saying that he can just make one phone call and the Americans.
Simon Parks is not the case.
Yeah, but let's not forget that little slip of the tongue there with the youth, the caring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Youth caring. That was slipped in there.
Yeah, exactly.
After some of the things that we've heard tonight and the rumors and other allegations that were made against him, I wouldn't let him near my children. But that's my opinion.
But why do they need those type of contracts? Yes, so they've got members.
The youth?
Right. What they've got members that work in these departments, in their real job. They're members of the Connecting Consciousness. They want to get the contracts for these centers, and they've got professionals who can run these centers. But why? Why does Connecting Consciousness want to move into all these areas for?
The biggest word, re-educate, is the education. It's on his website, education. It's all about indoctrination. It's all about education. It's the word according to. That's it. And that's all it can be. Because he's even spoken in the past about re-educating lawyers and judges and the police and absolutely everything.
I don't understand cults, obviously, right? I don't get them. I just don't get why they don't question it. They're all sat there in these meetings. And this is, let's face this was leaked, right, from one meeting of many meetings that happen all throughout the world.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's the same as this one. If I just quickly play this last one, what it will show you is the events that are supposed to happen today.
Oh, can I just say something before you do? I did say this to you off air as well. Actually, he's done a video just about 2 days ago or less.
Last
He
one
talks
was
about
blooming
this.
awful.
Let's
He
try
talks
that
about
again
this.
in a
He
moment.
talks about this. He talks about this event, and he says, "Well, we can't go public with the dates because it will worry people." But closed off. Let's listen to what he says.
Yeah, I'll bring it up now. Hang on, last one, everybody. It is, and I've lost it.
That's quite all right.
No, it's in leaked. Hang on a sec. It's in. No, it's not in downloads.
You should see my. You
But
should
it's
see
meant to
my.
happen today, as in today's date.
Yeah, it's
28th
today.
date.
Here we go. It's
28th,
today's
yeah.
date. Yeah.
Well,
leaked
almost.
Oh,
audio.
we're gonna find out what didn't happen today.
Right.
We're gonna find out what did not happen today.
You are going to find out on part 1 where it says part 1. It is that one, and you will find out what didn't happen today. There you go.
And but just so everybody knows, he's
First of all,
shared dates
lovely
before.
to be with
Nothing
the
ever
Welsh
happens.
group. Wonderful, thank you, David. I'm not sure how many members we've got tonight.
So far, we've got 59, and I'm still admitting.
Right, good. So I wanted just to let people, a bit of a feedback here. Just wanted to let people know that the first country that's going to see military action will be Australia and New Zealand. So these are the 2 countries that will first see troops on the street acting as part of the new takeover. So look for that. I'm not sure quite in the early stages what we'll get on mainstream, but from CC members like yourselves, but in those countries I've mentioned, they have told me that troops have come from door to door in certain areas, and I quote, I've been told, you must stay in, the date I give you is the 28th of October. You have to stay indoors on the 28th of October. You will hear explosions and you will hear children screaming. You are not to come out of your house.
Yeah.
So that's CC members, just like you in Wales, who have given me that information, because soldiers, and they are a mixture of Italian soldiers who speak English and Australian, New Zealand soldiers, because this is a multinational force operating for the White Hats, and they getting the experts in. So there are a lot of Italian troops involved in this operation. So I wanted to let you know that things are happening. That's the beauty of CC. We've got eyes and ears more than the BBC. We've got eyes and ears all over the world. So that's really exciting. A lot of people have said to me that they are, I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but they would have liked to have seen more action.
Right. I mean, that's the end of it. What you've got to remember now, it is the 28th in the UK, just past midnight. Australia, it's kind of just past noon or 11 o'clock in the morning. So there's been no reports. I have friends in Australia and I have friends in New Zealand, and there are no explosions. There are no troops on the streets, Italian troops that are controlled by the White Hats, because Australia allegedly is controlled by Donald Trump, according to Simon and Charlie. So nothing has happened. Absolutely nothing. But he won't make this public.
Hold on. This is the 28th. He's saying it's going to be on the 28th, which is now today, right?
Yeah.
We could still hear explosions and children screaming.
We've
Should we
got
wait
12
for another?
hours left. We've got 12 hours until Australia hits midnight.
Oh, so yeah, of course, this is in Australia. Okay.
Yeah. This is spread now.
No.
He actually goes on
I just want to comment, and listen, I'm no expert in international relations and how these things work, but if foreign troops just suddenly started going door to door in England, I don't think that the English authorities would just sit down and let, foreign troops harass, intimidate, threaten, or, compromise the safety of their citizens. They're not just going to lay down and let foreign troops walk in their country. It doesn't make any sense.
The followers believe it.
You know, I don't want to. I just have to say one thing, Stephen. I'm going to have to switch devices here in a second. I left it. Like, okay.
If you want, I'll throw you out, and then we'll bring you back in when you're done.
Okay. I'm just.
Don't say it like that.
Probably. All right. So I mean, I'm ready to juice on my laptop, and I'm going to come back with my iPad. So I'll be right back. Okay.
Right. No,
sorry to bother you guys.
worries.
Okay.
No
bye.
worries.
If I could just take the opportunity to point in also, like, you know, another thing, it's like there's so much that goes on in all these messages. And one of the things that you really need to key in on is this notion of constantly telling the CC members that they're involved, that they're playing an active and vital role in these historical events. You know, that's a form of love bombing. That's a form of ego inflation, so that you keep the positive experience going from the group to the individual, which breaks down the individual's barriers, breaks down the barriers to individual thoughts, and allows them to engage more easily and readily in groupthink, and also just, you know, primes them because it's giving them an expectation. You know, if you heard a average, everyday, unexpected knock on the door, you might assume that maybe the pizza delivery guy got misdirected, or maybe there's a piece of mail that's too big to go into the slot, or maybe there's someone that's going to door trying to sell you like solar paneling or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're primed up with this information, you hear that knock on the door, and all of a sudden it's happening. You know, the invasion is taking place. But there's
I can't work out the end. I can't work out why that message anyway, because there's got to be some sort of end game. There's got to be something. He's got to realize. I know he blames mainstream media. Oh, they won't report on it. But one CC member, like CW just said, one CC member, somebody knocked on his door and said, just stay inside 5 minutes, there's a gas leak. They would actually twist that story as well.
Right.
This is the problem. And like you say, they're primed. They have to be not so much cajoled. They just, he's making them feel good. It's this God complex. I don't know. It's unbelievable.
Well,
It's
he used the word projects. Did anyone catch that? Projects. Yeah. And I think what this is that the members are submitting projects of ideas that they want to do for CC when the money starts coming in. I want to run the care home. Right. I want to run that department. I could do this. And they're submitting these projects. And then are they asking for money as well from the people that submit the projects? I don't know. I'm just
no. What they're doing is Simon's going to fund it.
Yeah, and that plugs right into one of the classic Sarah and Sarah side projects, which was those White Dragon families that you'd go and meet with the ambassador and you'd submit your proposal to a non-exploitive, you know, good for humanity project. And you'd have to pay for the opportunity to even submit the proposal. Come on, there's processing fees, but they'll get right back to you to let you know if the Dragon Society's decided that you're the guy that's going to get the $1 million.
I think somebody submitted a quote, and it was, what did he say? It was 38 zeros. And it was it was $90 quintillion or pounds that he wanted, and Simon went, "Yeah, that's no problem. Just submit the paperwork."
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask because we haven't heard from her in some time, and I see her listening intently here. I want to ask Jeanette, having heard this additional stuff that you were never aware of when you went to him for a healing, what do you think about all the things he told you about being a healer, about him being your twin flame, about you guys being soulmates, about you guys knowing each other from past lives? What do you think about everything he told you, having heard all of this other deceptive things that he's peddling?
Again, as I said, I do 100% believe he is a psychopath / narcissist, and this is someone who was talking about love bombing. That's what they do. They love bomb you, then they punish you for something that you've done, and they take away that love, and then they forgive you, and then they punish you again, and it ends up more punishment than love. But he preys on vulnerable people, obviously, and I was vulnerable, and he knew that, And going back and reading the messages, the sexual ones, and him asking, for example, about my boyfriends and my exes, what I used to do with them.
Right.
It was just gross. Yeah, I never responded to that, by the way. I never answered that. It was just very gross. You could almost feel he was, and he said, I'm very dominant in the bedroom. And it was like he was trying to take control over you. It's a power thing. And again, that's what psychopaths and narcissists do. So.
Yeah, because you would respond to him saying, well, I want to, you know, I would rather it be loving if we were going to have, you know, an intimate interaction. And you, and yeah, it was the opposing of that, wasn't it? What was suggested? Yeah.
I don't want you to fuck me, as he kept saying. I want to be made love to. I don't use that language, and it's not nice. And no, I don't want to suck your snake. And it was just it's really bizarre. That's how he referred to penis.
I was absolutely shocked. I was absolutely shocked. You know, look, you know, I'm a big boy. I've seen sexually explicit messages before, but this was beyond the pale. Like, this is what I want to do to you. You know, and all of this stuff. And I love that he made a point to point out that he doesn't come quick, you know.
Oh God, yes, that was so.
You better be ready, because I don't come quick, and all this other just deplorable garbage that he was spewing at her.
Are we sure we don't want to do the dramatic read of the emails and the texts?
And that's what he kept saying, that he wanted to literally fuck me from behind and see my gorgeous bum. He doesn't even know what my bum looks like. He's never seen my bum. It was just silly. It was just
Well, I still think, you know, again, none of this really it does matter. It doesn't matter. But what really matters here, right, is that you were the client, Jeanette. That's the difference. If this was a relationship or an ex-girlfriend that was pissed off, or boyfriend, none of us would be putting that stuff out there. All right, that's your private stuff, right? Regardless, but this is different.
He's saying, oh, he's threatening to take this to court. Well, a judge that isn't corrupt will look at this and he'll go, oh my God, this is disgusting. You belong.
You were paying for a service too. You were paying him for a service while he was saying this.
You know, that's another thing.
Not
He
that
gave you
sort
it
of
for free.
service either.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I run a small business, and I can't imagine ever sending these kind of messages to a customer of mine. And I have nothing, and I'm not trying to heal people of depression and you know, suicidal thoughts or anything crazy like that. I'm fixing computers, but still, there's some things you don't do. You don't go there with a customer or client.
And it seemed to be a common thing that some of the people that I've spoken to, and one of the people I've seen them pop into the chat right now. There's someone in this chat right now that was a victim of this man, and I'm just so glad that I saw her pop in, and I'm glad that she's there. And I know someone else that's watching this right now that's the same as well, and I'm very glad that she's watching. She's just been texting me, and they all use that's the same thing where they didn't pay for it. It was free in this sense. The initial contact.
Yeah. That it's like a lot of things. It's the same. It's the Scientology personality test. Get the footfall, get them in the door.
Absolutely.
Then you've got them. That's it. You can offer the world. And if you're hurting inside, if you are suffering mental health issues, and even if your heart's breaking, even from a relationship or family problems, you're susceptible. You're easily. They've got you hook, line, and sinker. They've got you, and it's sad.
I do believe he's delusional, and he belongs either behind bars or in a padded cell. I don't know, or both. But he is dangerous. He is a dangerous person. I would love to know how many people he's done this to, and maybe not just women, maybe men as well. Because I did read somewhere that there was a man that said something had made him uncomfortable, the way he behaved towards him. I can't remember exactly.
Again, that's alleged. I'll just say that. Yeah, that's all alleged. Yeah.
But there are a number of alleged stories out there, and confirmation is what we work on, and it's what we need. And obviously, with you, Jeanette, you've confirmed everything, because, and you know, I mean, your story is, it's so heartbreaking. It really is. And
absolutely,
there are others out there, and hopefully they see this. They only need to know that you've come forward, Jeanette. I honestly think you will be the catalyst of the floodgates opening. I really do.
Yeah,
really
thank
do.
you so much. I mean, even hearing what Patrick had to say, you know, the amount of times he saved you from suicide. I know. I mean, it's not an easy thing to talk about, and I'm so glad that you're brave enough to allow us to talk, you know, about this to you. My God, man. I mean, just wow.
Yeah.
Actually makes me feel sick because I've worked with so many people, and I've been kind of, you know, I've had personal experience with that sort of, you know, those sort of thought processes, and having people there to help, to talk to you is so important. And the fact that you've reached out to someone who took advantage of that and, you know, did not help, you know, it bothers, it angers me, it boils my blood. And yeah, so I think it's important. I think it's so important because I'm sure you're not the only person that's been, I know that you're not the only person that's been through similar-ish situations with this man. But yeah, I think that, as someone just said, you could be the catalyst here for holding someone to account for what they're doing to other people, not just yourself.
Because am I right to say, Jeanette, that at the time, and I think this goes for many of the other women, that no one would give you the time of day. They didn't want to know. They were scared of what the repercussions of telling your story might be. That's what I was told by some of them. Was that the same for you? Maybe? Yeah. Okay.
I was thrown out of the Swedish CC group for speaking up, and I didn't even give them the most vulgar, gross details. I just started commenting that he's not the person he portrays himself to be. But yeah, they weren't interested in the truth. I got thrown out.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Simon had said that me and Patrick, my friend, were trying to blackmail him for money. I don't know, we're absolutely ludicrous. Like, what? But yeah, that was what he said officially to people.
Yeah, and I just want to interject and say that if you or someone that you know has a story that you would like to share about Simon Parks, please email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Let this be the catalyst that begins maybe a road to justice for some.
Yeah.
The fact that you've stepped forward and it's courageous, and hopefully you'll inspire other people to have the courage to come forward too. So you're the first.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I unfortunately have to go. So, but I will, close and say thank you for everyone for allowing me to participate. And Jeanette, thank you so much. You know, it's one thing to talk about these things in the abstract, or when there's things or events or issues that are faced by other people, and it's another thing to come forward and to share an uncomfortable story about yourself, and feeling stories that can involve aspects of violation and abuse, and I like everyone else has already, I commend you for coming forward and sharing your narrative and sharing your information and story. It's important that this stuff, what's done in the darkness, should come to the light, so that people can know the truth of what they're dealing with and what they're interacting with. And I think you've helped move that issue of truth forward. So I thank you, and I thank everyone else who's been on the panel with me. Great, and I really do sincerely appreciate the invitation to be able to be told that things that I know about the situation could help bring things to the table. It's an honor, and I thank you honestly and sincerely. And I wish you guys
thank you so much.
Luck with the rest of the stream for as long as you decide to keep on going. But I unfortunately have to tap out.
Take care.
No pun intended.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation.
Out of here.
And it should be noted, I will
for more truth with Terry. Fuck Stephen Cambion. There you go.
CW Channer, who's Stephen Cambion anyway?
Nobody knows. When we figure that out, I think he's that number 2 we heard on the tape with Simon. Saying in that squealy, squinty, flinty voice. That just
Simon,
like
we got
nails
a
on
few
the
more
chalkboard makes you think
questions.
it's Stephen Cambion.
We got a few more questions from the chat.
That's
Simon.
it.
How many more questions you want?
And why can't I get a group together? This guy's got people coming together. They're trying to change the world for this guy, and I can't get people. I can't get people to change the friggin' water.
This is all Kevin. I couldn't get the freaking files to play. So
I can listen. You know what I mean? It's not as though you're an IT expert who helps repair people's computers.
Yeah, way to kick me in the teeth. Thank you.
Way to kick me. I didn't kick you in the teeth. I merely pointed out the thing that's been going on all freaking night.
Yeah, I know.
I kid because I love and I hate.
I'll tell you what, the next one will be better.
Sure. Promises,
I worked out
promises.
the bugs live on air, and now I know what I did
That's
wrong.
it. When we bring forward the truth about David Wilcock, folks, you're not going to believe this, but this guy's outrageous claims, I think he's full of shit.
Yeah, they're not.
I think he's telling the truth over here.
We're going to have 10 panel members for that one. Yeah.
Why stop at 10? 25. Keep the party going. Everybody that I'm meeting for the first time, the Althea Project, M Seeker of Truth. God bless you guys. Bless you and your work. Everyone keep on keeping on. And I will hopefully talk to you guys again real soon.
These
conversations and discussions are powerful and good. I think they're beautiful for the community, and I get a lot out of them.
Cool.
Thank you for your participation, and God bless you too, CW.
Thank you.
Thanks,
thank you.
Bye, CW.
Take care, guys.
And I forgot to mention, but if nobody told you they loved you today, CW Chandler, somebody just did. And his name is Stephen Cambion. Especially for those guests that don't know who's interviewing them. My name is Stephen Cambion. Thank you all.
Yeah, we've covered some really great stuff today. And, you know, I mean, there's more, of course there is. But I think just to acknowledge, you know, yourself, Jeanette, as well. It's just thank you so much for doing this, because this... yeah, it's not easy to be sat there, and I know you was nervous coming on, but you've done an amazing job, And
I hope you will feel welcome here always. You're always welcome here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We honestly, we will all stand with you, and we do.
Yeah,
absolutely. But you know, we've got your back. You know, someone just commented, actually, Sherlock Tarot in my chat. She said you created a really safe space for her to talk, and I thought that was a lovely comment. And I hope you do feel that.
I do. Thank you very much. I do really appreciate it. Thank you, all of you.
There's another question from my chat if we've got time to answer it. Someone has said,
why don't we try to pull in some, we can't put them up on the screen, but let's take some questions, because we are simultaneously broadcasting on M Seeker of Truth channel, and he's got a bigger crowd than us. So let's take some comments and questions from his live chat, but he's going to have to read them. Or do you want, I can go over and read them out loud, and then you can talk about it.
I don't know how big my crowd is. I'm using my phone as well as my laptop, so I don't know how big it is. But yeah, we both had a very big crowd tonight. Great turnout between my channel, I know, and from your channel. So thanks, guys, for joining us. I've had quite a few questions in the chat. I've been trying to keep an eye on it, but I'm using 2 devices and juggling. I've not even got my green screen behind me. I feel a bit vulnerable. But yeah, I had one earlier, and it said something along the lines of, do you think that Simon is just doing this for monetary gain, or do you think that there is another, perhaps more sinister reason behind it? I mean, people controlling.
We've discussed this, haven't we, Kevin? And I'm still slightly with his end game. I don't know what his end game is. I know what I'm gonna do, but I can't figure his end game. Is it, like you say, is it more financial? No, I don't think it is. Is it about power? Yes. I honestly think it's about that. I just think it's control.
And now, just a note on the simulcast, we have over 550, I think, people watching between my stream and M Seeker's Truth stream, or maybe 600.
There was a hell of a lot more earlier.
Yes.
There was at least 900.
I think we topped out at 900 probably, or 1,000 total people watching.
1,000 maybe.
peek. Yeah. And just a note, I'm sharing MSeeker's channel's live chat. So we want
guys, it's a chance. Ask some questions.
We thank all of you for your participation, for your attendance, for this very important special broadcast. I can't thank everybody in the audience enough for being here to support us to do this important work.
Nice.
You know, the thing about, you mentioned about what's his end game. The one thing that is concerning to me is how it is affecting us in the United States and where it plays out to, in terms of QAnon and the right-wing movement and the demonization of conservatives in our country. And then the fact that we had what happened at the Capitol building, and he's associated with it. And Simon Parks is not the only person from the UFO community that's been a part of this. And they all seem to come out of, it seems like either it's Project Camelot or it's Miles Johnston, and then they spur off from there. So the end game could be very disruptive to a lot of people. And our mainstream media in the United States likes to take that information and go with it and perpetuate the division that we're feeling here.
It's hard because Kevin, obviously, he's in a different situation to Em and I. We're in the UK. We live in the UK. And I watched this from afar on numerous channels, and I've gleaned so much information. I've watched, obviously, Will from Cold Beer Confessional, and he's covered Simon. Now, Simon jumped on with Doug Billings on the Doug Billings show. What is it called? I think it was Right.
Yes,
Side.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, the right. Yeah, that's it, mate.
And now Doug Billings actually says, "Well, I have you on my show because you bring a massive audience." And when Doug Billings actually had to turn around and he did it was like a minute and a half, maybe 2-minute disclaimer about what Simon was going to say. Simon's an advocate for destroying the White House, dismantling, literally, actually getting bulldozers. And I can't figure this out. Simon, it was for many, many years a staunch, as you say in America, he was a staunch Democrat. Now that he's now suddenly become this Trump supporting, he's totally switched political parties. But
interesting.
And I can't figure, I can roughly work out when, but I can't figure out why. But what he doesn't realize is what he's saying with, oh yes, I've spoken to Q. It was originally trust the plan, then it suddenly went to trust the man, and then it was all this pathetic rubbish about the tribunals and all this spouting. And Simon is an echo chamber for many of the QAnon lot. He's a massive echo chamber for the events of January 6th. And he claims that you shouldn't trust mainstream media, but he quotes it quite a lot. They all do. But the drawback is you've got somebody that for many, many years was on the left, has now come to the right, and is now sowing massive division in a country 3,000 miles away from my country, from his country. Why? But he claims that he's going to set up 50 healing centers. To be perfectly honest, I think if Simon set foot on US soil, the TSA might have a word with him. Homeland Security.
Well, don't forget again what he said in his latest video. He said the answer is in the USA.
Yeah. He's claiming that he actually, he's already said it, that he's secured funding for the 50 healing centers in every state in the US. You're talking tens of millions of dollars. Tens. And well, he's saying that because his followers want to hear that. But I don't understand why he is transmitting what he's transmitting, because it is causing division in the US. And it's just unbelievable. And I wish I knew why he was doing it. Well, I know why he's doing it, because he's just wants to be the big boy. He wants to be a grown-up. And he's gone the wrong way about it.
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of bizarre that these guys from England, in the form of Charlie Ward and Simon Parkes, are trying so desperately to interfere and influence American politics. Because I can't imagine waking up one day and just going, you know what, I'm going to start talking about how we should overthrow the British government.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm gonna do that every day, and I'm gonna accept money for it every day. And I'm going to say that the British Prime Minister isn't really in, you know, the minister's house. He's on a set. Yeah. You know, it's just so bizarre. Why?
Well, yeah, well, exactly.
Why so far from home, you know, and he is, regardless of what people want to say about him, he has a huge following and he is an influencer. He's influencing all these people's thoughts, emotions, fears, anxieties. Yeah. He's playing on their hope. It is terrible. This is just, it's very concerning.
It's the same as the other guy, Nicholas Vinyamin. Now look at him. He's even now dressing like Trump. He's got his nicholasvinyamin.tv set. He used to sit again. He's another Brit. He's an ex-jeweler from down south and stuff like this. And he used to sit in front of a brick wall with obviously a green screen with a brick wall. Charlie Ward brought him on board in September of 2020, and he's now got his fake studio, but he dresses basically the same. He's playing a journalist, and he sits there, and this is the man that believes that when the container ship hijacked in the Suez Canal, the Evergreen, he agreed and also made the claim that they had technology on there that. Basically, they had a switch to dim the sun. In other words, a dimmer switch.
Yeah, crazy.
Kinda, no. But with the claims that are made, again, it's another echo chamber. But they're all, see, Nicholas and Charlie, I mean, they're not interacting as much as they did in the past. But neither Simon.
Well, because they got so much wrong. I think they had to back off for a while. They got so much wrong about the American voting thing. I don't even want to say the word. That's
I know, yeah.
And you know, they said this would happen, that would happen. You know, they would, and there was other grifters in the UFO community, like David Wilcock, saying the same exact echo chamber stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the election's going to, the voting thing's going to get overturned. Biden will never step foot in the White House. Yeah. He's going to be arrested for voting for you know, interfering in the you know, thing. And you know, it is this huge echo chamber, and they're all telling people things they want to hear, like, you know, Hillary Clinton's going to get arrested next week, and then it never happens, and it goes on and on and on. They never comment on all the stuff that they've gotten completely and totally wrong for 4 or 5 years now. They just make up new stuff. Yeah, people forget.
I think the three main protagonists in the UK, Vinyamin, Ward, and Parkes, they jumped on that. As far as I on the political aspect of it, financially, as far as and that's it. In my personal opinion, was this financial aspect of it. Because, I mean, Ward charges X amount a month. Simon doesn't charge, but there's a donation button. I'm not saying, I'm not making no allegations. But Nicholas Vinyamin now charges. He's moved up and up and up. And these three protagonists, they haven't got a clue what they're saying. And they're now starting to sow derision in this division in this country, with Simon trying to get into the local councils. Charlie Ward is always saying this is all boarded up. The Queen, Her Majesty the Queen is dead. This is this, blah, 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 blah. And none of their followers will just take to a keyboard and go, well, hang on a minute. I have a rule. I'll take 10 statements. If 3/4 of those statements are false, you're done. That's it with me. There is no point to listen to you anymore. And that's it, and that's how it works. But I am talking about disinformation, misinformation, and the altering of contextual, be it news stories. I know mainstream media are not the most trustworthy. I understand that, but you've got to start somewhere. But all the same with DuckDuckGo is better than Google. Well, it's not, because it's got the same crap on. Google and DuckDuckGo, you can Google this thing and it'll appear on DuckDuckGo. So even those stories are ridiculous. But
yeah.
Well,
I mean, we've still got our research to do, haven't we?
Oh my God!
I think there's still a lot in the beginning part of Simon's story which doesn't make sense, and including his father as well. He never talked about his father, and when did his father die? I asked that question because on Simon's marriage certificates, I think it was the first one as well, back in 85, that his dad is down as deceased.
85,
right?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, 1985
well,
deceased.
If he had no contact with his dad, and his dad left him as a little child, and maybe he did come back in that early age, but nothing afterwards, from what he said, then how did he know his dad's dead? I mean, I don't get it.
Well, yeah, because I mean that's 26 years, because he landed Christmas Eve of 59.
Yeah,
landed in the UK into Southampton, and then 85, his father's claimed as deceased. Yeah, we need to find. We'll find it. It's not an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll find it. But
yeah. I mean, I've interviewed someone. Simon knows this guy as well. A US guy over here that actually knew his dad and his mum from where was it? South Africa, wasn't it? Rhodesia, yeah. And met George and his mother at a bar over, I think it was like New Year or Christmas time. And he published this story because he had such a great time with them. But he sort of explains who George Parks was and how, what mum was doing over there at the time when she met him. And it was just, fun little thing to find this guy. And I found out that Simon had been speaking to this guy as well, and one of Simon's kids has spoken to this guy just because they were looking into their family history. He has no idea where his dad ended up, but in the future. But just little breadcrumbs sometimes, isn't it?
You've got to follow the breadcrumbs. I've followed literally, and I think M was the same when he's done his stuff with his videos. You only need that one. It's just literally, sometimes you're staring at a crushed loaf of bread in front of you, but it's that one breadcrumb that opens the door that gives you everything you need. And a couple of times I found the one breadcrumb, and I'll find South Africa. It's not Zimbabwe, I think. I will speak to the continent. Zimbabwe, yeah.
I don't think, if someone was this great teacher, sorry to bun in tap, but whatever you put yourself out there, why can't you just have a bit of transparency? If someone's got questions for you, you shouldn't have nothing to bloody hide. It shouldn't be like that. But it's just, there's other things going on here, isn't there? So
especially if you're putting yourself as a teacher, a guru, or it doesn't really matter. Even if you're the guy that's making mad YouTube videos of how to fix glass on an iPhone, I mean, they know about you. And because it's a business, they will know where you are, they'll know your number, they'll know how to contact you. And if you're putting yourself out as the savior of humanity, well, we kind of need to know what you're saving us from and how you're going to do it. Well, we know how they're going to do it because they keep telling us, especially if you watch the film Elysium or if you watch Iron Man, because it's all in plain sight. Remember, it's all in plain sight.
Absolutely, no, Jeanette, because you obviously when you got away from Simon and you sort of were still doing some research on what you'd been through, by just like trying to figure out who he was. I think you bumped into somehow, or you saw something somewhere about what Kerry Cassidy had posted somewhere, in the sense of like why it's excusable for Simon to have his actions. What did she say? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was this thread, the Avalon thread. She defended him with, well, yeah, but he's admitted he's a reptilian. So what do you expect? He's going to behave on that, basically. So yeah, that was the excuse. He's reptilian. He said he's reptilian, and so yeah, that's what we have to expect from him. She was excusing him.
I find that disgusting. I find especially that it's coming from another woman.
It was disgusting.
Yeah, just like giving him an excuse.
Yeah, It was disgusting. It's enabling him to continue and say, well, it's not really his fault because he's reptilian and he's already admitted that. So it, I was shocked and surprised. That was her.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. And I mean, Terry, what do you think Becky could have done when Jeanette, sent those messages in to Becky, and obviously she just stonewalled? I mean, what would have been the right thing, right? I mean, what could she have done? I suppose, except for
Well,
what she did.
okay, so correct me who Becky is again. Becky is somebody who he
Simon's
married
partner.
now.
Yeah, we believe
Okay,
they're
but
married.
she wasn't originally married to him when he started doing what he was doing with Gisette, right?
Well, Jeanette, just clear that up. But yeah.
Jeanette.
Yeah, apparently he was, but I didn't know. I had no idea she existed.
Okay, and then Becky came in. Well, it's too bad. I mean, if she's still in a relationship with him, then she's probably, denying it or in some sort of denial. So,
Or victim blaming.
Right.
Victim blaming. Many wives blame
he
the
said to her,
other woman.
Who knows what he said to her? I mean, like other times in these kind of situations, the man will, oh, she's crazy or she has problems or it's completely trumped up, and and then she might be under his. I mean, obviously she's with them, so.
But I sent her all the screenshots of the conversation, so it's kind of there in black and white. It's not me just saying this happened. Here is the proof. Read it. There's no denying. You can't. How is he going to explain that and say, "Oh, she's crazy"? But he wrote these things.
It's weird how women can just be in denial, though. I mean, and it's unfortunate that that she's just going to push it off. That's the only explanation that I could think would be happening. Is that, and I don't think that what Becky has done. There's a lot of women that do that in these kind of situations. Sure. They want to hang on to the man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's easy. Many women placed in that situation, the wife will sometimes blame the other woman. Like, well, she was the aggressor. She did this. She did that. But in this case, we can clearly see that Simon was the aggressor all the way.
Yeah.
I did originally feel sorry for her, but to be perfectly honest, I don't now, because now I just feel that she's enabling him to continue doing what he does, because I don't think he stopped doing this. He's still doing it, and he's going to continue doing it until something really, really bad happens. That's the way it works for these people. They don't just stop. They can't help themselves.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's going to stop, and it'll probably, unfortunately, catch up with her later. She will most likely have to really confront it within herself, what's going on.
Yeah, the truth always prevails, always, eventually.
Well, it has right now, and I know. Well, I might be attacked for it right now illegally, but it was all worth it. That's what I'll say. I hope we haven't done anything. I'm sure that the way that this has been done, I'm happy with. And I'm just over the moon, Jeanette, that you've you come on, like I kept on saying to you, and this is the hopefully this is not the norm. Do you know what I mean? This type of show, yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens now. I'm starting to run out of battery.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap things up.
Yeah,
we're way over.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna get this done in 2 hours. I knew it was going a little long, but we could go. So I don't know exactly how to wrap it up, except to thank all of our panel members and invite them to do a part 2 if we all continue to dig and find additional things worthy of sharing. I'd be more than willing to host and help in the research efforts. We've got some incredible researchers here that have all contributed to tonight to share some of their findings there, and maybe others that have just been following Simon very closely, that covered their coverage of his past string of lies and deceit and all of these things. And I can't thank everybody enough for coming here, banding together to do this good work.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you.
just so appreciative of you all coming together like this at such a sort of a last minute as well.
And my apologies.
So appreciate it.
My apologies for the technical issues. Part 2 is going to be much better. I promise. It really will. I wrote notes and everything of everything I did wrong, apparently. So it's on me. Live show, you get up here, warts and all. The important part was the information that we had to share, and we all came together and got it done one way or the other. And my apologies also to M Seeker of Truth for not working out the proper things. But I'm so glad that you made it. I'm just glad that you made it, because it was very
absolutely.
And thanks to his audience also for their
Yeah.
huge attendance of this important event. We really appreciate
that.
Your ears and eyes.
It's all good. Thank you for my audience for being here as well. And I've connected with you guys before, and those that I haven't connected with, I'll be happy to do more with you guys. But yeah, let's do a part 2. And
I'm down.
People stayed with this. They wanted to hear the truth behind Simon Parks. So like you, someone said before, all good researchers in our own right, with our own kind of field or take on this. And I think it was a good panel to have together. So pleased, honoured to be a part of it. As CW said, honoured, and it's been a good attendance, good night, and I think we got some truth out there. And thank you, Jeanette, again from me.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of you for being so kind, and as someone said, creating a safe place to talk about this, and listening and acknowledging what I'm saying is true.
Oh yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, without you, this wouldn't have really happened tonight, to be honest. But I mean, we stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I can assure you of that, and we will not work. We will not stop, and we will continue our tireless work. And it is tireless. It's difficult, but we won't stop. I can assure you of that.
Really good to hear. That is music to my ears.
I hope you that you heal, and that you do better, so Stephen, thank you for having me, and Kevin for asking me to be here.
Oh, Terry, thank you for coming.
I care about stuff like this, so whenever I can be of service, let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help as well.
M Seeker, thank you as well, brother.
Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. All you guys.
So we're coming up on the 3-hour mark. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm going to start throwing people out of here and do a very quick wrap up, because long day for me, long day for everyone. Thank them all for their time and their energy and their dedication to important work. First off, there we go. So, and thanks once again to Jeanette for having the courage to come forward, because I truly believe that this is going to be the start of something important. And you're the catalyst for that, having the courage to do it. So I'm gonna throw you all out of here, and we'll do a quick wrap up. There we go. Thank you to Tap from Alethea. Thank you to Jeanette. Thank you to Kevin Moore, and the last man standing, M Seeker of Truth. Thanks so much. Okay, friends, what can I say? It has been an incredible and revealing special event here with the participation of so many great people. You guys always hear me say this. I'm always happy when there's an audience. And I was more than doubly happy tonight, because M Seeker came and had a tremendous attendance numbers that really amplified the voices here. And he should be commended for doing that. You always hear me say I'm always happy when there's an audience, friends. I want to thank you so much for being a part of mine, and thanks to all of our panel members from around the world for their time, their dedication, and their great work that they lent their talents to tonight. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.